What's up, everybody? It's your friend Isaac, and welcome back to Big Bike BMX. I am live now. Well, we're not live. I don't even know why I said that, but I am live right now with my homeboy, Etnies BMX, Craig. What's up, Craig?
Yo, what's going on, man? Back in the saddle, dude.
How's your elbow?
It is hanging in there, man. Literally hanging in there. But yeah, getting through
You're healing. You're healing.
I'm healing. It's a process, bro.
It is, but you're making great strides.
I can almost itch my nose with my left hand.
That's progress, you guys. I'm telling you, his arm was dangling and he had to hold it up until the emergency people got there. It was dangling. He had to hold it. It's gross. I'll send you the photo if you want to see it. At Big Bike BMX on Instagram, and I will send you the photo of Craig's 3-inch arm when he dislocated his elbow.
T-Rex.
Yeah. And if you send a donation, I'll send you the video when I picked him up because they cut his shirt off and he's dancing.
Yeah.
Do you even remember that?
Do you remember? I remember. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I try to have a lot of fun, and I'll even sign those photos if anybody sends you a request for one. I'll sign them and send them out.
All right. So Craig, like, this is our first of 2022. This will be the first episode, and go ahead and introduce our next guest, our first guest kicking off season 3.
Dude, for sure, man. You're right. The first guest
is that crazy?
2022. Yeah, I think it's like if you don't come out right out of the gate for the new season. This is season 3, dude. We are in season 3. This is guest number 1, episode number 1. We've got none other than I don't even want to name everything he's about, but this guy is one hell of an exceptional dude and can talk about anything you want to talk about, man. Bikes. You could talk about Merritt. You could talk about Throne. You could talk about whatever's going down on East Coast, West Coast, globally, man. We have Montana Ricky in the house, everybody. Welcome, Montana Ricky. How's it going, brother? Thanks for joining us tonight.
How does this shit work? Because it's like click, clang, one goes to you, then the camera goes this way. I'm good. I'm golden.
No, you got it right, dude. If you're talking and that little yellow box is around you, you're on camera, bud. So yeah, it kind of bounces off as we speak.
Well, I'm gonna do the thing. You know, when you watch people and you're doing these podcasts, the people that you interview are always they're always tense. Like everyone you ever watch. You watch Volcker when he did his. You watch everyone you watch. They don't even know what to do or whatever. Not. It's like you guys have had the camera in front of your face your whole goddamn lives. Craig Grosso, when you guys were filming him, he was like robotically laughing when he was describing things. And I was like, I don't get it. You guys have always had a camera on you. Why? Just loosen up. Get into it.
There you go.
Dude.
That's it. Hi, thanks.
We got to start off with some relaxing meditation techniques led by Ricky. I mean, he's got it down. Did you see those moves? He was so fluid. He's ready to go. And that's a great point too.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Here's the thing. Volcker, man, that guy, I'm pretty sure that dude's broken every bone in his body 9 times. So I think he's just permanently stiff unless he's sitting on a bike, because then he's on a bike and he's fluid again. My favorite was the other day, Cole Volcker. So I'm a big fan of Cole Volcker, Dave Volker's son. So if you're on Instagram, follow Cole Volcker, Kole. And so, dude, the funniest thing was like Dave. I think he went to Swamp Fest? Did you go to Swamp Fest, Ricky?
No, I'm not.
You work 24/7. You don't go.
Yeah, I don't go anywhere.
Yeah,
I don't enjoy it.
Right. So I think what happened was like Volcker got an award at Swamp Fest or something. And he's showing like his like lifetime achievement award. And so when I shared it, I was like, oh, cool. Cole's dad got an award, Swamp Fest. That's rad. Dude, I thought it was the funniest thing ever, dude. And then, yeah. So anyway, I don't know why I broke off into that story, but welcome to 2022.
Well,
no, I get it, bro.
I think that's great. I think if you're going to have an interview or you're going to be talking with people, it should start from the 80s. I say we start it from 82, talk with the curb dogs. Then we make our way when we get all those little nice kids coming in. Joe Johnson, who came in, murdered it. Then we had that little Matt Hoffman dude who fucked everybody over.
Who? Who?
Yeah, who's that guy?
Can you spell his name for me?
Hoffman.
Oh man, dude, I love that though. Like you guys, I have no idea what this I would love to tell you what Ricky and Craig and I are going to talk about, but this is pretty much the way it goes every time we've tried to plan a podcast. So we're just going to go all over the place, hang on to your butts and enjoy the ride. Because this is going to be,
you guys didn't do the corny write down with the yellow magazine. Like when you watch all the other guys, they're like, oh, so I noticed in this time you did this, which is always the same question that somebody's asked Rick Thorne or something 15 times. Somebody's always asked the same question.
Why are you the man in black?
Huh? Yeah.
Why are you the rider in black? Yeah, no, Craig organizes his thoughts with a notepad, but dude, I don't, Craig doesn't, like, that's the big thing we usually enter with, like, hey, by the way, we're really shitty at interviewing people. Like, we have conversations, but that's what we do. Like, we're not, so like people are like, you're never gonna hear me go, so you started working at Kink or Merritt, right, at 1987. What, right before that, what were you thinking? Dude, you'll never hear me ask.
I was 5 years old in 1987, by the way. I like that you go to 87 because that was your prime.
Dude, I peaked in 87.
No wonder he wanted to start in 82 then.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. Well, from the get-go when I was born in 82, let's start there.
82. Let's start there and go with the curb dogs and move our way over,
God damn, dude, in 82, I had already beat I'd already rolled Defender on my Atari at home. I was already playing video games at home when you were born.
I had ColecoVision or whatever it's called.
Do you remember arcades? Did you ever go to arcades when you were a kid? Okay.
I'm from Montana. Montana's 10 years back. Whatever you have now, 10 years later is what Montana gets everything late. So when bike parts came out in 1993, Pro Raider Hutch was like the dopest thing. Nobody in 93 wanted a Hutch. They wanted, like S&Ms and Standards and that, and Dirt Brothers and Homeless, like, and Bully. Like that stuff was cool. I was still back in like 86 because we were so far behind.
Yeah. Well, yeah. See, Isaac, while you were at an arcade, Ricky was at it, like one of those BB gun shooting galleries, just because it was so far behind, dude.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I was over there in like a stand-up video game machine playing Tron with like the first video game I remember with like 2 joysticks, and I'm over here like full 3D surround sound. You could smell the pixels.
Yeah.
No? Okay. Whatever. It was a great video game though. But yeah, dude, geez. I can't.
Well, you mentioned curb dogs, Ricky. And so let's start there, man. Like, is that really when you start, like, how did you like get into like understanding like BMX, like the history? Was that something you were into, or when did you pick that up? How do you even know about curb dogs? You're a young buck, dude. Like where does that come from? Is that inspirational for you to have that knowledge?
I'm a whore. So when you're a whore, you go out of your way to say things or do things. Like, I'm the guy that goes to a contest and I've read so much about somebody's life. I'm the guy that comes up and says the most obscure thing. Like, obviously, if everybody goes and they see Brian Castillo, they're always going to say Cadbury egg. They're always going to talk about that. And for me, I always do the opposite. I'm like, man, you ride your bike so slow. I wish you would just like pick it up, because he just rides his bike fast. So I always, and he's always hanging out with so many people. Obviously, Brian Castillo rides. I'm just a whore, so I read up on people. I watch every video that I can watch. Every single day I'm trying to learn something new, and a lot of it comes from just giving respect to guys that were here before. Like Sean McKinney calls me every other day. Matt Berenger called me every night for 2 years straight, and we would talk for hours. Keith Trenner, even though I asked you guys who he was, we would talk for hours, and we would talk about BMX. I would just pick people's brains, but I would always ask them situations. I always just wanted to know what went on during this photo. Like, Like when I did a show with Vic Murphy, and I just asked Vic, like, I'm like, why do you love BMX so much? And if you know Vic doesn't really like to talk about BMX. It pisses him off sometimes. So that's the one time you can get him to say a cuss word, is if you just ask him what he thinks about BMX. So for me, history has always been like, when you know when you're one of those dorky kids and you want to be cool to the older guys, I
Since
would do
birth.
Huh?
I said since birth. Yes, I know that feeling.
Yeah. So I would always be like, all right, if I study and do this and I say the right word and I talk about the right person, they're going to accept me. And then I started realizing like, oh, I like this. And then I started realizing like, instead of collecting like physical objects, I like to collect stories. I like to know the person in and out. I like to know things I shouldn't know. Like, I like the idea that Troy McMurray, when one time and his friends got drunk at his apartment, he cut his dreads off and he was trying to hand his dreads out to everybody and asking them if they wanted them. And the funny thing is when Taj Mahalic cut his dreads and he gave his dreads to Elby's, because that was his first sponsor. Elby's has a piece of his dreads and his X Games jersey. And I've always said to Troy, I was like, you don't realize this, but I'm one of those people that would have paid a good amount of money for your dreads. Like, I'm that sick of a person. So it's just like I hear stories and I do things, and then for some reason, I'll remember the most obscure things always.
I can relate to that. I can relate to that though, because Craig, you'll remember Nick Phillips, the dude from London. We just talked about him. We just talked about him. He ran Anarchic Adjustment. So he came over. He was big in like freestyling, and he was one of the UK guys. He ran Anarchic Adjustment. He had dreadlocks. He cut them off and he gave them to people, like exactly what you're talking about. And I remember thinking like how I wanted to hang one from my handlebar. I was like, dude, that'd be so dope, just rolling around like some dreadlock. Now as an adult, I understand how like creepy that is, but I respect where you're coming from, because I wanted one of Nick Phillips dreadlocks, dude. So like your quest for dreadlock and your passion for dreadlocks, I can relate to that.
But I think it's a fandom thing. I think it's an obsession. Like, you guys ain't gonna have a podcast and call people and talk to people that haven't been relevant. Some of them haven't been relevant, but they're relevant on the people that do care, on their minds. But you guys wouldn't go out of your way to do this if you weren't passionate about it. And that's what's so great about BMX. Like, I just fell in love with Flatland again. Like,
love it, dude. The whiplash stuff, dude, is my heart, bro. So keep going. Keep going.
Definitely. But Flatland does not get any fucking love, period. Flatland is just like completely dead in everyone's minds. It's always just about street, but nobody understands how fucking amazing Flatland is. And then you go to the next aspect, vert, the kahunas, but they're both the same to me. They take so much discipline. They're so hard. You get hurt so much. I love Flatland. I don't even know why I went into this spiel about Flatland, but it's just a passion. And I feel like you guys have the same. Look at all these photos you have of people back here trying to look who you have. Bro. Is that Anderson? Is that what? Who's this?
Who's one? Which one are you talking about?
The guy airing.
But in whose room? Yeah.
Oh, not you. Isaac. There's the guy with his anus showing. Yeah. Who's that?
That's Brian Blyther.
Oh, no one talks to cops. Anyway, moving on.
It's funny, but let me show you this, dude. And this is something funny. Craig knows this, but nobody else knows I have this tattoo. You ready?
Yeah.
Can you see that?
No way.
All right, so I love.
Look at the Ricky's so stoked right now. He was just talking about the passion of Flatland, and Isaac raises that 18-inch Flatland tattoo, bro.
There's the only Flatland bike shop that I know has ever existed. It's called Flatland Fuel, and I tattooed their logo on my wrist right there. So I love
without Pat, BMX or Flatland would be pretty. It is a unicorn, but it would be a pretty close to dead unicorn if it wasn't for him. The money and effort and time and bringing over all those brands like Heresy, Aries. I can't think of
Quammen. Yeah.
Yeah, they just he supports it to the max, and he
supports big bikes.
You know what's also so great? I don't if you follow me on Instagram, this isn't, hey, you watch this, go follow me. But I wrote a big thing about this is a thing that no one knows. Most core shops are owned by Flatlanders. It's crazy. Like I was trying to do it. So
Chad DeGroot. Here's what we go. Gabe Weed, Chad DeGroot.
Gabe Weed. I'm having a brain fart because I'm putting it on here. But obviously I did my homework. You got Spun Bicycles, which is by Don Inrush Bicycles with Mickey Active Bike, Mark Fluente, which, if you guys know, is the original dude from Baco. You got PJ's Bike and Drive, which is Roy and Rob. You got East County BMX in California, Henry. You got Jeff and Tony from Pedal Action. You got Cheap Goods. You got Flat Society, which is out of Gilbert, Arizona. They're Flatlanders.
Shout out to Flat Society. I do purchase some products from them.
And you got Gear Up Velo, which is Brian Ryback. You got Solo Bicycle, Dan Sirkin. Like, there's so many Flatlanders that are giving back to the sport. It's amazing. I without Flatland, BMX wouldn't be BMX to me. I'm obsessed with it. I don't know the name of any of the tricks. I just know I love watching Chase Gwynn in his underwear at the dirt at Thrasher or whatever that thing was. Remember? And he had a video part where he was in the parking lot in the dirt, I think in his underwear or something, doing Flatland.
Dude,
whatever.
I gotta tell you, I don't remember the name's tricks either. Like, there's times when like I'll send a clip to Craig and like, bro, what was this called? And he's like, it's called it. Like, oh, that's a fire hydrant, you idiot. And I'm like, oh yeah, it is. That's right. So it's kind of funny, dude. To like, I can't remember the name's tricks either. And dude, here's the funniest thing, dude. They renamed tricks, so now like an endo is now a stoppie, and a tail whip is a foot jam. I have to specify it's a foot jam tail whip, because anytime I post a picture of me doing a flatland tail whip, people are like, that's a foot jam. It's not a real tail whip. So then I have to apologize to like
Blather, right?
What's that?
Blyther, right, is the one that did the first foot jam tail whip on the ground.
That's a lore, dude.
Right?
That's the lore. The lore is that Brian Blyther, and Craig's going to be the one. Craig's the expert on.
No, I'm right there with you, dude. That's what I heard.
When you watch Ride, when you watch Wicked Ride, which you guys are going to watch this, everyone watch it. They break it down. Obviously, I'm cheating, so I know it's Brian Blather, then Joe Johnson, but there's someone in between, and I'm always forgetting who is in between.
They did a tail whip?
Yeah, like the bunny hop tail whip. There's an in between for the bunny hop tail whip. There's a
We're gonna have to watch Wicked Ride because we're talking about tail whip on ground. We're talking ground tail whip.
Yeah, I am too,
so Blyther, yeah, right.
Then there's another one. Then there's the one where the dude lays on his back and does a tail whip on the ramp. Either way, when you guys watch it,
we're gonna have to watch that, man.
Let me ask you this. And this is Ricky, you're a guest, but this is a question for Craig, because I did this and I promise Craig did this too. Did you ever lay on your bed with your bike up in the air and pretend you were doing cans and no-handers just to get the feel of it? I read somewhere like,
100%, dude.
You can lay on, dude, Ricky, you can lay on your bed, hold your bike straight up in the air, and like do cans just to get like the feel of what that's going to be like. Hours, bro, I spent doing that bullshit, dude. Like I was going to be like a ramp rider or something. I'm terrified of ramps, dude. Like,
well, I started, where I saw it first, bro. It wasn't even in BMX. I was watching the Search for Animal Chin, the Powell Peralta Bones Brigade video. Wait, was it that one? I think one of those videos from Powell, right? Where Lance and McGill and all those guys are in like some hotel room or something. They got their boards in the air and they're laying on their backs and they're doing these tricks and stuff. And I was like, So I was working on my bike in my bedroom and I was like, putting the bike up in the air, working with my skateboard decks. But hell yeah, dude. I mean,
I think we all did it, man. I
like
think
a easy way to do it when you're a little grom, right?
Like a rain day. Yeah.
So when you're a grom, it's funny you guys say that because I started BMX at 11, and I don't know if I've told you guys. If you've talked to me, I don't consider. I hate when people say this. Obviously, it's my words and how I feel, but I think it's corny when a person says, "I've been riding since I was 4 years old." That's not riding. You're not doing tricks. You're just on a bike. That isn't you being like, all right, I'm making a conscious effort to be like, this is it. It's when you start bunny hopping and you start doing tricks. So I always count it from the first time I've done tricks. So obviously everyone has their first trick. What's your first trick?
Endo.
Wheelie.
A wheelie? Okay.
Wheelie.
What's the first thing when you jumped? What's your first trick when you jump?
Bunny hop.
1 footer.
Besides the bunny hop.
1 footer.
What 1 footer?
Mm-hmm.
1 footer. I would say mine was probably the what we call the foot jam,
or cross up. Yeah, I mean it was cross up or 1 footer.
Yeah. So I say that, right? And so I came up in an era when I started riding, which was 92, and you got Ride On, and my first video ever when I was 11 years old, I watched Cheese. So I'm up on it, all right? And Chad Harrington's doing all those stupid, dumbass tricks where he's like, that's Ride On. But I mean, Chad Harrington's in there too, because it's Dirt Brothers, and he's doing all his crazy fly out tricks. So I was like, we have to build a fly out and I have to learn everything. So my first day of ever riding trails, I learned one-hander one way, one-hander the other way, 1 footer one way, 1 footer the other way, no footer, then no footer one-hander, then no footer one-hander the other way. And then I was trying nothings. And this is like literally not even bullshitting you, my first time riding trails, because I thought I had to copy those. Not kidding you. So I'm 11. By the time I'm almost 12, I can almost land 360s at the trails. Here's a photo of me when I'm almost 12 years old. And that's me doing a can.
Those jeans, though.
Like, so, and the greatest part is like, I lived with dudes that wanted to capture memories, and they taught me to always just use your phone and take pictures, and to have that and to still be like, I always had old dudes that were like, if you don't do this, you suck. So it was always like, all right, I have to learn it. But my obsession was I'd watch a video and I'd be like, if I can't do that, I'm never going to make it. And so I always tell kids, go ahead. Sorry.
What age were you when you learned to ride a bike? I'm curious.
11. I don't count it until 11.
So you don't count it until 11, but what, just to humor me, just because I'm curious, when did you actually learn to pedal a bike? And
at 8 years old, I was jumping like Evel Knievel, because Evel Knievel's from Montana. He's from Butte, Montana. I was at 8 years old doing gaps. So I'd set up a tire with a thing and I'd do like 10, 11 foot gaps and I'd go for it. Like I got a 3rd degree burn and I don't even like in my whole arm when I was 8 years old, but I still don't consider that starting BMX. Like I was jumping and I didn't consider it till I started doing tricks, and that was 11.
I would call bullshit, but my dad lives in Montana and I've been around Montana people. And dude, here's the thing. Here's what you guys, so I guarantee everyone right now is going bullshit. Ricky did not do that. And here's what I need to tell you about Montana. and Craig, we've had this conversation because Craig and I almost went to Montana as for a trip. Montana people are different. You guys, the Unabomber came from there. And I'm not saying that's because it's a good thing. What I'm saying is that's the kind of people that can live in a small space and be cool with it and just get by. They're different kind of people. And so there's nothing to do in Montana. And so
Exactly
my dad, so just for this, we've already had this conversation. My dad lives in Big Timber, Montana, and there's nothing to do there. So when you see on YouTube, when you see like a street bike pulling a sketchy bike, and there's like a cinder block ramp at the end of this sketchy thing, I promise you that's in Montana, because people would be like, oh, that's Alabama. Alabama, no. Like, and here's the thing, it's not because they're crazy, it's because they just don't have, that's literally like, I could do that, because they don't have a whole lot of time. Like, they have all kinds of
time frame is limited. They like, you got to get fucking aggro within like 3 or 4 months.
You can research the science of it. You know what I mean? So like, by the time Ricky's getting pulled down the road on this ramp, he knows exactly where he's going to land, because he's already done the math for it, because he's had time. But no, Montana hits different, you guys. That's all.
Here's the crazy part. There's a dude named Scott Hopper. All right. He was getting hooked up by GT. He was doing contests and competing against like Dave Osato and Jay Miron. He wasn't like winning against them, but the shit this dude was doing, he had a vert ramp in his backyard. He was doing fakey nothing airs like 6 feet out of a vert ramp. And I remember going to his house and just watching him do cherry picker fakey half bar spins on a 12-foot quarter and just messing around. And I could remember being 9, going to the fairgrounds, and him and his friends would do shows on the vert ramp. And I'd be like, I could remember vividly watching these dudes airing like 5, 6, 7, 8 feet out of a 12-foot quarter. And I was like, that shit's gay. I was just like, I thought it was gay because it wasn't like, my bike riding was just put a launch ramp and go, right? It didn't dawn on me how amazing that was. And I should have stayed with it until that Scott Hopper came to I lived across the street from a park, and this Scott Hopper showed up with these kids, and they were like 4 years older than me. This dude named Fish Thumb and this guy named Chris Bender. And they were doing when you go really fast and you press the front brakes and you do a handspring over the handlebar and you do like a front flip, like you press the front brakes and then you do a flip off the bike. You land on your feet. What is that called?
A flip, yeah, accidental flip. But yeah, when you do it on purpose, I don't know. Like, yeah, I remember Brian Skur used to do that. We used to call it a front flip. I don't know what it's called.
Okay, well, this dude, Scott Hopper, would teach every kid in the neighborhood to do that. If you rode bikes and you hung out with them, that's what the kids would learn. I couldn't do that. So I started riding a bike, and I saw this Chris Bender kid, and he could do 360 tire taps. And my goal, and this sounds so crazy, and this is how obsessed I am with BMX. I was like, my goal was, I'm going to do that 360 over a dirt jump, and I'm going to do it this summer. And it wasn't even summer. It was still winter. And we went to whatever trails there was. And I was already trying to 360 when I started learning all of those tricks at 11. So
ice jumps. But
the only reason I was this way was because I saw it. So there was kids that were so good, and I don't realize this now, but that Scott Hopper motivated me because he was teaching other kids, and my goal was just to beat them. And I always tell kids, I was like, there's nothing wrong with upping your friends. It's when you're like, oh, you suck ass, I did it before you. That's bad. But when your friend's trying something and then you go and do it, for me, that's how I grew up. We got motivated by doing that. So me watching these kids older than me, my goal was to beat them. And I don't know why I didn't like that, but it was competitive.
Do you think it's different now? And this is a question. Okay, this is a question for Craig and for you. Do you think that's different now? Because I can relate to that, and I know Craig relates to that because we've had this conversation where it was the coolest thing in the world to pull a trick, and then if you pulled it in front of your buddy, you had proof, right? You had evidence, you had a witness that hey, he pulled that. But it was like it meant something. If you pull something by yourself, you're like, man, I wish my friend was here to see that, you know? And so do you think it's the same way now? Like where it's that, you know, no, I got to pull it.
Kids hate it. And I always tell kids, I'm like, when I was growing up, it was first come, first serve. And if you were trying a trick, you're a bitch if you couldn't do it. So your friend would do it before you. So it made you do it. There was no, where I came from, there was no puss runs. There was no stare at anything. There was no pro walk. And I know it's aggressive, but the dudes I rode with, we had nothing. So we just made up our own rules, and we were so, like, we wanted it. So whatever we saw, I grew up with Eddie Cleveland. In 2006, Eddie Cleveland was the biggest thing in BMX. People dressed like him, rode their bike like them. He was BMX. So, and there's multiple dudes that are from Montana. And I'm having a brain fart. And these are a lot of these guys that I'd mentioned that are pros that came from Montana are not in the early years that you guys are, guys are familiar with. But growing up where I grew up, it made me do everything quicker and faster because I didn't want to be the last to do it. Nowadays, kids are like, "Oh, I was working on that. Why are you upping me? You're one-upping me, dude." Like,
what changed? What was in your opinion?
I think the kids are insecure. I think everyone has their own pace. Now, I also want to say this. I love BMX, and I don't believe whatever I'm saying isn't the end to be all end. Doesn't mean because I think it's this way, it should be that way. And I think that's a misunderstanding people get from me because I'm so excited about BMX. So they think my opinion is what I think is the greatest thing. It's just an aggressive way of thinking. It's like Catfish. Catfish fucking loves BMX. He's aggressive in his own way of pissing people off. But if you want to know somebody that knows every fucking thing about BMX, call Catfish. I'm just like Catfish, except for I'll stop and think before I say something. He doesn't. I have the ability to do it. But going back to that, my opinion, it's obviously my opinion, but I'm very strong about my opinion. And so for me, I just feel like nowadays kids grew up looking at something on a phone and they mimic what a phone is. And it's so progressive and it's so fast. Every kid's good. Every kid's a pro right now. Doesn't matter. Like all of them. And they skip things. Like a kid nowadays cannot do an ice pick or a 50 stall on a quarter, but he can do a bar spin to 50 stall, but he can't do that. You know what I mean? Like the basics.
Ricky, do you think it's more or less the progression is going from that? Like you said in your circles, it was like you had to one up or you had to get out there. You didn't puss out. Everybody, you saw someone do it and you're like, I'm up next. And you tried it, but you either, nailed it or added on to it. It was more like, I'm doing this shit, right? And it seems like, observation wise now, it's like you talk about kids now, you mentioned it. So it's like, instead of them going out and sending it, it's like, hey, let me see if there's a video on it. Let me see if I can watch someone do it. And then I'll go out and try it because it's easier to do it or conceptualize the trick by watching a couple YouTube clips and then I'll go out and then figure it out or try it.
As soon as Hoffman did that handrail in Oklahoma and he figured out by putting a PVC, whatever pipe on top of it, because it was aluminum. As soon as he did that, everything opened up. I mean, he did that handrail and then not even a few months later, Cheese came out. And then you had the first dude, I don't even remember his name, but the song was Egyptian Lover. And that dude was doing the biggest handrails. And all of that time was so close. It just took one person to do it and it opens up something. Nowadays, the kid can just do this and it's just like this little mini computer's there. For me and you, we had to look at a picture. For you guys, you looked at a picture and that was it. For me, I would look at a picture, but have to wait a year to see the video. You guys, when you got a little older, then you got the video. But you guys had to guess what Dino DeLuca, Ron Wilkerson, Blyther, all these dudes, you had to guess what they were doing. Like, what is that? Eddie Fiola, Vander. You're like, how is that possible? Because it was just a photo.
If we were lucky, it was a sequence, like a 4-picture sequence in some how-to trick editorial or you know, but you're right. It was like one picture. It's like, what do you do with that? Right. You know, there's no other way than to go out on the street.
my favorite thing. And you got, I apologize, Ricky, just to pause you for a second, but I got to bring this up because Craig will appreciate this too. Dude, how frustrating was it to read like the description of the sequence? And I'm like, Mark Lumen, I know you don't know how to do a whiplash. And I like, it'll be like Kevin Jones, whiplash. And whiplash is the one that just kicks into me because I remember the sequence for the whiplash. And I remember that. And I remember reading like description by Mark Lumen. And I'm like, I know he can't do a whiplash, but yet he's trying to describe, lean forward, put all the weight on your front peg, and then, kick with the right. And then it would like, Craig, tell me you're like, do you remember? Of course you remember that, but like, how frustrating was that, dude? Trying to learn a trick based off of some dude that can't do the trick telling you how to do it with some sketchy ass sequence pictures.
Yeah. First things first, at that age, I was a picture person. I was a visual learner. Like I didn't read so much the description. I'd probably get lost after 4 sentences of like, do what? No, let me just see I just want to see how they got into it. What did the middle of the trick look like and how they wrote out of it. Right. So I'm kind of with you, dude. I just gave up on trying to read somebody's description. It sounded like some engineer trying to tell you how to assemble a freaking multi-stage rocket. I was like, fuck that.
Explain what Diz Hicks is doing. You got to get into this stupid fucking, when he do all these like twisted out dumbass, I don't even know the trick. What is it called when you, lawnmower? Like he'd be like one-footed, one-handed X lawnmowers, and they try to describe that trick. You can't. You have to see it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, like, believe me, I know what you're saying.
You can't describe style. I mean, something like that. You can't describe showmanship and style. It would just be like, you could describe a lawnmower, but like a Diz Hicks trick, forget about it.
Well, that's why when you had that interview with Craig Grosso, and he said in there, all they cared about was just riding. And when they did tricks, they just stretched it as fucking hard as they could. Like everything they did, they went as high as they could and they stretched it as hard as they could. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care what pro, give me a pro right now. There is nobody in BMX right now that can do an X-up no-footer table. No one's going to do that. There's a lot of vert riders back in the day that were doing shit that was like doing the inside foot look backs? Like when a person does the look back, but it's the other way where the foot, you know what I'm saying?
When it wraps around the tire. Yeah.
Huh?
Like it's like that version of the Leary where it's like a weird ass like.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm telling you, no one's doing an X-up table, no foot, like that stuff that you saw Ron Wilkerson and Dino. And I know I keep saying repeated names because I'm on the spot of trying to say names, but if I had enough time and we weren't on this interview or whatever, this conversation, I would just be able to spurt out names, times, dates, where they were, what skate park they were on, if they were at Ron's famous ramp with that dumbass dead tree. And there's always, Wendy always took the photo from this side, so the dead tree would always be there. And if you guys
the enchanted ramp, ramp.
All right, I don't know the name, but good enough. Think about that.
We know the one.
Dude. Trust me, Ricky. Believe me, dude. The fact that you call it the weird ramp with the weird tree, I love you for that.
It's like enough said.
I mean, dude, I've loved you for a long time, and I'm gonna transition, Ricky, to some big bike stuff real quick.
That's an absolute. That's like a complete 180. We just
It is. No, but dude, bro, trust me, we'll be here till 3 a.m. if we just keep going like this. Because how many times have we tried? You guys, backstory, and Craig will attest this. You guys, we've already interviewed Ricky once, and I lost the file. I interviewed Ricky, and I lost that file, and I lost the Throne and Marlowe interview when my laptop battery got too big. It exploded, and so I lost my 2 interviews. And so we've already had this interview, and like if I just call you on an afternoon, Ricky, we talk for like 2 hours. So if I don't do these awkward jumps, bro, we're just going to be here. This will be like a 9-part interview. It'll be like goddamn Tiger King.
I am so disgusting. I had a 5-hour interview with a person. Then I hung up. I did a 1-hour talk video live with Brant Moore with 50, 60 people watching. And
I was one of them.
Huh?
I was one of them.
And then I did another interview, I think, after that. Like I did 3 interviews in one day.
Dude, that's amazing. Well, here's the thing. That's amazing. But here's the other thing. The problem is Craig and I, this is our fun time, dude. No, we will sit here. We will not, we won't stop you. We'll just be like, let's go.
Here's the main thing. Who are these for? This is the thing that you got to think about. This is, all right. 95% of people are only going to watch things or listen to things when they're told to do things. And then the people that are actually going to stick here and want to be here are the people that love it. And let me tell you, when they're fascinated or they love something, they'll last the whole goddamn time. When Corey Anastasio had his interview, I didn't even realize it was over. It was that good. Like, there's just certain people. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, my interview could be so great. I'm just saying that when people love BMX, they don't give a shit how long it is. They
I didn't.
You know,
the Chris Moeller Unclicked. That's the one I will always go to. I think that interview and that podcast episode, I think was my favorite one I've ever seen. Did you watch that?
Yeah,
everybody watched that. Everybody watched that. I love because it was raw. It was very raw.
There's a difference. Like, he didn't hold back. Like, so many people are afraid to lose things. That's the difference. Like, they're held over by
because you get canceled
or a corporation, huh?
Yeah, you'll get canceled. Everyone's worried about getting canceled. But here's the thing, dude. So I do want to get, and this is why I want to get to big bikes, because the people that absolutely, our fans will absolutely watch 5 hours of us talking about BMX and magazines and name dropping of people that in clips that we loved. And I'll sit here all day for that. But I do want to get to people that don't know you for your BMX background, just because now we know, you know your BMX history. You've been BMXing for a long time. You're in the industry. And you ride both, because this is what made me the biggest fan of you. This was probably the key thing before I ever spoke to you, was like, I saw what were you doing? You were learning the 180 to like 360 rollout on top of a ramp. Like you would basically hop, land 180 on the back wheel, and then continue to spin around and ride out on the ramp that is in most of your videos when you're indoors, when it's like, So
that was
Merritt. What's that?
It's the Merritt warehouse.
The Merritt warehouse. Okay. So the first thing I saw was actually a flatland. The first thing I ever saw you do was a flatland trick on a big bike, and I don't remember what it was.
It was probably a backlash. A backlash.
Yeah. And dude, this was like 3 years ago. Does that timeline sound right? This is about two and a half, maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's 3 years ago, because I was chainless.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
No, but then I put a free coaster on it, because I got bored of doing it chainless, because kids were telling me it didn't count. So I was like, all right, I'll put a free coaster on it and I'll do backwards manuals. So
that's what I remember. So I was like, dude, this guy can. So I saw that and I was like, oh, someone doing flatland on a big bike. That's dope. And then later on a feed shows up and I'm like, oh, this guy's doing like 360s off of walls. Okay. This is, I'm interested. And so at that point, dude, that's when I became a fan, and seeing what you're doing on big bikes, because it's not the typical like Bikelife wheelie combo thing, but you're doing BMX the way I remember BMX, and you're doing things that I see people that I'm fans of. Like, for me, as someone coming back, and you just type in BMX on YouTube, you're going to find people like, let's say, Spencer Forsman. And I love watching him. And I think he does great videos, super funny. But watching him, and now I'm watching you do the same tricks I enjoy watching him do, but you're doing it on your throne. And I'm like, holy shit, dude, this guy's good. So it just makes me, because you are doing what I aspire to do, which is I grew up on a 20-inch bike and now I'm riding a big bike. So I see that and my brain says you can do that. And my kneecap says, get the fuck out because you have your deductible's too high, right? So I look at you, but like if anyone would be like, hey, I live through someone watching them, dude, that's me watching you because I'm like seeing you like practice whiplashes. Like I remember that, dude. And I was you. I remember doing that. I remember how many times my hammer shin guards just got destroyed, hoping this would come like that. It's because for me, it's that second, as soon as my right foot goes on the peg and I'm balancing with my left foot, I'm fucked.
And it's because is your left side your weak side?
It is 100%. It is.
Right side's my weak side, and the right side, in order to get past your weak side, you have a habit of when you put your weak side on the peg, you're always having a habit since you're afraid. You barely have it there. You need to rub the inside of your foot into the hub to force yourself to stay forward for the trick. And that's the problem with your weak sides there. So you got to try it. It's a mental thing. So it's all leaning forward for that whiplash. But the oppo foot is all about not being a pussy and leaning back on it. Because it's just a habit of being like, oh, I could put it down. But if you lean it forward and up against the hub, you're going to stay with the peg. And that's my problem. I know, like with any bike or anything that I ride, in my head, I've done the trick. But just because in my head I've done the trick, I need to do it realistically. But when I'm doing it, it's kind of like Trevor Meyer. I think Trevor that breaks down tricks like science, like he does it like a math equation? Was it Trevor who broke down Chase Quinn? I don't remember which Flatlander, but he would write it down in his head while he was actually riding. And that's kind of what I would do. I don't know why we switched to this. I know we're talking about big bikes, but even on my big bike, I do the same thing.
We can talk about Flatland all day, bro. I'm good.
Yeah. But what I'm saying though is with the big bike, the thing that no one gets in BMX is they look at that and they go, oh, that shit's gay. That's whack. And I always say to them, I'm like, get on one. All the tricks that you think you can do, 100% you can't do it on this bike. You can't. Number one, the specs. Number two, the head tube. Number three, it's basically the big bikes right now are exactly like the early 80s. They're in their infancy. They're growing. So BMX is so far ahead, it forgets what it was like when it grew up. And most of generations don't understand it. So it's instantly gay to them. But what they don't get is there's a whole nother genre of riders that are coming up, and that riding is dope to them. But it's dudes on two wheels. So for me, I'm always like, this is hard. I just want to challenge again. But I don't want, like, in BMX, the only challenge that I'm going to get that's satisfying to me would be Flatland. But I don't have enough fucking time. Nobody wants to sit there all day long trying to hitchhiker to a combo into something else. I don't have it. But on that big bike, like I had the video of me trying to do the nose pick 360 or the G turn on the 29er. That was the funnest and hardest thing I ever did because you're rotating a 29-inch wheel. Like,
is that what got you into big bike though, Ricky? I mean, like I saw the same videos that Isaac is talking about from 3 years ago, watching you in the Merritt warehouse. And I'm like, it really was like the first time, dude, that I saw someone like, bro, that guy's doing Flatland. Now I saw Gabe Weed, but that was like a year later on this GT dyno in a parking lot somewhere. But you were like one of the first guys who I saw, like, what even gave you the inclination to go, you know, the big bike, I could probably get on one of those and start fucking with it. Like what, who even does that from a 20-inch world directly into a big bike?
This is how it goes. So I did a shop stop at Long Island at the bike shop, Vicious Bicycles. If you watch this, shouting you out, Mike. We were doing that and we had, you know, Billy Perry, Anthony Panza, Austin Augie. We had all these up and coming YouTuber dudes that were so huge. All these kids were excited. And off to the background was all the SE kids, was all the Bikelife dudes. And, you know, they were just watching and they were happy, but they weren't riding. Like we had a little tiny ramps in the front. We're just doing a shop stop. We're hanging out, eating with the kids, riding with the kids, signing autographs. And I told one of the kids, I was like, yo, let me see that bike. And he goes, oh, do you know how to wheelie? I said, nah, I can't wheelie for shit, but I bet you I could do something. So I grabbed the bike and I just went as fast as I could. I jumped into a rocket manual and then I just started, bouncing the bars, doing the basketball run and doing bar spins back and ways and, doing rocket no-handers. And all of the kids were like, what the hell? And I was like, whatever. Like, I was like, that's what you do. Like, this is another way. Try this. And those kids were like, dope. I never thought of that, right? And then I just kind of forgot about it. And that's the first time I rode an SE. That was July 16th, 2016. So if any of the kids that are into Bikelife watch this, and some of you guys have a thing where, this isn't Bikelife, or you're trying to do that, you don't want to segregate things. And another thing is I've probably been riding longer than most of you guys, but I'm not out saying, hey, I've been here longer than you. Even though in BMX, yes, I've been riding longer, but in Bikelife, I have video breaking down of when I got on an SE and doing it, but I'm not going to tell you that. I'm just here to show you another avenue and another way of riding that. So fast forward like 4 months later, my friend bought a Fat Ripper, and he's like, yo, what can you do on this? I was like, I guarantee you I can do a bunny hop 360 on that first try. He's like, no way. Yeah, Fat Ripper, which for me, and this is where I always ruffle a lot of feathers. If it ain't a 29er, it doesn't count. My eyes, my opinion. I get it, kids. I love all you guys.
For big bike?
And Bikelife. If you're going to ride a bike, and you're doing tricks and anything, the 29er is the superior one of the other ones. Because the wheel size is so big, it's impossible sometimes to do tricks that are easy. That's why I like it. But he had that Fat Ripper. What size is that? A 27.5 or a 26?
26.
26. I did a bunny hop 360 first try. And then my dude's like, oh, let me film it. And I was like, all right. So I did a 360 tire tap to 180 to roll back bar spin, like probably second try. And then and then I think I just threw it off by doing a 180 and yelling in the thing. And the kid DM'd it to Todd Lyons or tagged Todd, and Todd instantly posted it. And this is when SE had like 20,000 followers or something. And I got posted on there, and then all of these kids are like, yo, what? They're like going ham because they're not used to seeing that and stuff. And then Todd hit me up, and Todd's like, yo, you want a bike? And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I feel bad. Like, maybe I'll buy one. And then that's when I was talking to LJ at RideOutSupply, and I just told him to live his dreams. And he started his company, RideOutSupply. And he's like, yo, I want to put you on the team. I was the first dude on RideOutSupply, and I'm a BMXer. And he got me a bike. He just got me a 29er. We put it together, and there's a video, Rosati. Rosati?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
One of his highest viewed videos is me putting a bike together in 2017, and I'm doing like Smith grinds and wall rides out of the back of a 6-foot quarter and stuff, like my first day riding it. So I'm cheating because I have BMX background, but I'm not cheating because it's
a whole different platform.
Huh? Yeah.
It's a whole different platform, dude. It's not cheating.
It's been done on fixies, but the thing that I try to make everyone understand, the specs are nothing like a BMX, so it's harder. So for me, I'm just trying to blur the lines and let people know there's no difference. Whatever wheel you're riding, whatever you're doing is fun. I get it. Everyone puts rules. And I know that Bikelife guys have a hard time with BMXers. And it's only because BMX have already laid the ground and there's a foundation and there's rules. Bikelife, there's no rules. You can do whatever the hell you want, and that's it. But the only thing you can't do is call it wheelies. Like, don't call it a wheelie kid. They don't like that shit. It's Bikelife. Show some respect. BMXers don't like being called kids on being on kids' bikes, you know, like gay bike. They don't like that stuff. So don't say it. So there's a lot of it. So for me with this bike life thing and riding these bigger bikes, it was like coming into something where I was like, all right, I know how to ride a bike, but I want to earn the respect of these guys. And I don't want to come in cocky. I don't want to come in and talk down to them. I just want to come in and show them that, like, you can do this. And this is a different way of looking at it. And then my whole world opened because it's like LJ sponsored me. Then Broke Boy sponsored me. And then I got on Throne. And then it was just like, I've been on BMX and, you know, you get a frame sponsor and a part sponsor and maybe you get a clothing sponsor. But with Bike Life, it's just like, you know, I'm getting everything. And it isn't about that. It's just like everyone's in love. Like their passion for biking is, I don't even know how to say it. It's 20 times better than BMX at times because BMX forgets where it came from. But there's the reason it forgot where it came from, in my opinion, is the older guys forgot to tell the younger generation, hey, this is who you should look up to. This is the bike you should ride. This is the bike shop you should go to. You should do this. Instead, that didn't happen. And I believe it's my generation that should have done this, and we didn't. And what happened is now you have groups of kids that sit on their phones. They go to skate parks. They don't interact with any other biker. They could be riding down the street and they'll see another kid do a bunny hop and they'll ignore him. I literally have gone out and rode street and done a 15-stair handrail, and a kid rode by me, seeing me do the 15-stair handrail, and I know he rode BMX because I've seen him on Instagram, and he totally didn't say one thing to me. It's like we all interact socially on the phone, but in person, nobody says shit or does anything.
Okay.
Personally. Like,
so here's the thing, dude. Yeah, but here's the thing. So do you, because Craig, we again, here's a conversation we've had. So my best friend growing up, Lee, the kid that was from North Dakota, this is a conversation that we had before we started recording. The kid that had the Dino DeLuca video, my best friend growing up that I rode Flatland with, was named Lee. I respectfully won't leave his last name because I haven't ever asked him, like, hey, bro. But the dude I rode with, his name was Lee. I remember the first time I saw him, and dude, I saw him from probably half a mile away, and I saw a purple bike, and I saw just enough of that back of that tube to go, that's a dyno, that's a freestyle bike. Instantly, I saw the bend on the fork, and I was like, that's a freestyle bike. Dude, I chased him for 10 minutes because we're going in the same direction. I chased him for 10 minutes just to find somebody else that did, like, you ride up and you're like out of breath, you're dying. You're like, do you live here? Or are you visiting your grandma? Like, this first thing, you're like, do you live here now or are you just visiting? Do you freestyle? What's your favorite trick? You would like stalk people when I was a kid. And it breaks my heart to think that like a kid saw you bro, if I was driving by you before I got back into big bikes and I saw you do a handrail, I would fucking stop traffic to be like, bro, do that again. I need to see it.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I don't even mean to cut you off there, Craig.
No,
you didn't.
That's the saddest thing in BMX, and Bike Life's a lot different. Those dudes, it's a younger generation. They're new. They're just coming up. It's not a trendy thing. It's a heartbeat right now. That right there is seriously fueling to make BMX come back, but BMX doesn't realize that yet. And that's going to be my goal with the brands we work with. But BMX literally, with, you know, social media and everything being instant, and this is where I get in trouble because certain bike riders will get really pissed at me and say, oh yeah, man, you just think your opinion's so great and you get into it. And I'm like, dude, when you're a dork and you love something so much, I don't just look at BMX one way. I look at everything positive, and then I go down the line and look at the most negative thing about BMX. And I try to analyze that negativity and try to figure out, like, okay, the worst thing that could happen in BMX is 1992 when BMX died and all the corporations left and it was up to us. And then it was Rick Molinterno, it was Matt Hoffman, and then you had all of these dudes and they brought BMX back and they brought a core and we grew and we got bigger and X Games came and bicycle stunt series and, all of these things, the two hip stuff and Meet the Streets, all of those things grew. And none of these kids get that. But then also when I talk to older dudes, they get it. They love it. Younger kids don't get it. And to come all the way around, I feel like it's my generation that didn't do that. Hey, kid, you need to know this. You need to respect that. You need to watch this video. Don't that bike. This guy's cool. And then that kind of builds a fire for dorks. Like, I'm not a good rider. I'm only a good rider because I sat in front of my house from being 11 years old till I was 20 for 5 hours every single night, working on one trick every night, all the time. I'd get arrested for riding in front of my house all the time. My tickets started from $25 to $6,000 and they doubled every time. So it was $25, $50, $100, $200, $400, $800, $16. That's how many times I got arrested for being out past curfew and I was in front of my house. But I didn't care. That's how much I loved it. But see how passionate and crazy I get with this? And I know when people watch these or they listen to them, a lot of people get turned off by that because they find BMX the way they want to find it. I think I'm like really spiritual with BMX or a philosophy or I don't know what it is, but I'm like so connected to it. Like when I talk to Isaac.
How old are you? How old are you?
I'll be 40. I'll be turning 40.
Okay. Craig, how old are you?
49.
Okay. I'm 49, dude. You think BMX is spiritual to you now, Ricky? Give it 10 years, dude. Like, trust me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Craig, what gets you through rehab?
Ice packs and, and a lot of prayer. No, I wanted to go back real quick. Or Isaac, can I go back real quick and touch on something about Ricky? So when you talk about the passion of BMX, right? And like, you're feeling like, man, I gotta, it should have been up to me to pass this torch, pass the torch of the roots, of the passion, of the history. Like BMX, like when I think BMX, like for the history, right? I'm thinking 20-inch BMX, right? So that's the 20-inch BMX or BMX in general has been building on itself for decades, man. And yeah, there was lulls and you had in, the early 90s when it quote unquote died because it did. All that stuff, we've been building on that and building, and tricks have been evolving through within that 20-inch world, right? All these years, back from like the late 70s through the 80s and forward. But some of these kids, they're just getting their first bike and it's not a 20-inch. Like every kid from our generation past or, behind us, every kid got a 20-inch bike. Every kid, whether he was going to race it, whether he was going to learn some tricks or whatever. But these kids nowadays, or a lot of even grownups nowadays, are getting Bikelife bikes, 29-inch bikes, right? They're like, I got to learn how to wheelie. Like the wheelie is the ollie of big bikes, right? A Bikelife. So it's the ollie,
the bunny hop. It's the ollie and the bunny hop.
And the bunny hop. They're starting with that. Yeah, the bunny hop. So like that's their starting point. Like everything is going to be based off the wheelie. The wheelie leads into, other tricks.
The
combos, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that's their starting point from like when we were kids, it was like starting point. Like you asked us earlier, what was your first trick? What was your actual first trick that you did? And it was like, Isaac said, bunny hop, wheelie for me. You did these crazy, one hand, one footers, opposite side, whatever, when you were 11. So you started there, right? So these kids are starting at the wheelie, bro. Do you think that necessarily they're getting the influence from anyone to understand roots? Because where I'm going with this, dude, is like in Bikelife, you're going from wheelie to combos to now guys like DZ is doing like, front end wheelies. He's doing, a lot of people are now incorporating that old school, mid school trick and maneuver combinations into Bikelife. Do you think it goes there? I mean, you've been doing it, like you said, since 2016. Does it need to go there so Bikelife can survive?
Well, you have to evolve. And this is where we come in. So when tricks get to the point where the bike can't handle those tricks, that's when you need specific things made. Nothing's been specific. So this will kind of we're going to gear right now towards.
That's because it's in its infancy, right? You mentioned the infancy.
We're in its infancy. And the problem that everybody had back in the day, Matt Hoffman, when he had Head First, he's showing you all of these things breaking, all of these things, mistakes, defects. Like this stuff wasn't made specific for that. That's where, like, for people that don't know, I work at Merritt BMX. We just started a distribution, and we started another company called Theory Bikes. Theory Bikes is going to be geared towards all kinds of bikes, not just BMX, but we're going to make BMX. We're going to have repair. We're going to do everything that's made for two wheels, but we're also going to be one of the first companies that's going to make something specific, and it's made the exact size, the specs, and to make biking, bike life better. So I got a signature bar coming out for bike life. I have the specs that the kids need, and I also it's heat treated, full chrome ollie. That doesn't exist. Yeah, kids got some American ones, but they didn't put, like, I'm taking all the BMX that we have, and obviously I don't own these companies. Mike Brennan and Sean Curran, they own Merritt and 15 Distribution. I just work there, but I'm in the scene. So
you're one of us. You're one of us.
Yes. So that's the reason that this can work, because I'm not some dude coming in and saying, hey, look at me, I'm taking over. I've been here longer than a lot of other dudes. I've been riding longer than Rosati. I've been riding longer than some of these guys. I don't know if, so I didn't mean to call him out, but I'm saying, like, I've been riding long enough that there's dudes that are pros that are in bike life that I've been riding longer than them. So I've been here, I've been part of the sport, but the only way that this sport's going to get better is it's the same as BMX in the early 90s. A company has to come in and make the parts better. Todd Lyons works at SC, and he's making the bikes the way he's got to make a complete bike. He is halted by the fact that he has to make these affordable enough so he can't go into aftermarket parts. So when you have a brand like us, who we're specifically a parts company, we're going to make things that are better. So, for example, I always try to tell kids, I'm like, look, do you ever think that you can talk to this big, huge company? And they're always like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't know. It's like Maxxis. Do you ever think you're going to meet the owner of Maxxis? They're like, no, why would I think that? I said, okay, so I know that you guys all ride Maxxis tires, but tell me why you're supporting Maxxis. Is Maxxis supporting you guys? Is Maxxis giving back to you? Is Maxxis going out of its way to show love to somebody that's in the sport?
No,
it isn't. So, and for me, that means that money, and this is where you get into politics, that money from that brand is taking that money and they're putting it back into mountain bikes. That's going into a corporation. That's not coming back. So you have all of these kids that are super good. You got Hood Rich. You got that Zach Fullface. You got Cheeseburger. You got a Ball Out. You got Jacob Santos. You have all of these dudes that represent this one genre, which is bigger. I'm not kidding you. That genre is way bigger than BMX. As much as BMX doesn't want to admit it, bike life is bigger than that.
100% it is.
They're just not, they're in their infancy. So I always try to tell kids, I'm like, look, support RideOutSupply, support Broke Boys, because that money comes back into you guys and it grows and it makes things bigger. And we need those. So with having Merritt and Theory come in, we're going to make things specific. So, like, for example, all right, all of the kids are doing peg moves, right?
Yep.
Here's the thing. Kids don't understand what makes things better. So every kid rode a 4-inch peg. So they're getting this much of a peg, right? And I told the kid, I was like, all right, you got 4 inches. You're going to barely be able to get a foot on there. I was like, the Merritt Peg is almost 5 inches long. You can get a full foot on there and then almost your other foot. And then we were like, oh, let's put grip tape on our peg and help the kids out, which they won't slip. It helps them out. It's more specific. They're not grinding. They're not into grinding. So this is made specifically for them. Obviously, this is a BMX peg, and we're going to have a peg that's made exactly for what they want and for how the bikes are ran, because they're not doing a 17 millimeter axle bolt. They're doing a 19 millimeter because it's a complete bike, and those bikes come with 19s. So you needed a bigger hole to put that in there. Everything that we're trying to do is going to be made specific for them. We're not going to come in and take the money from those guys. We're going to support those guys, and we're going to make something made exactly for them. So in order to make this, to get out of that, we need to start making things and grow. And those guys need a voice for that. I'm not trying to be like, hey, I'm the voice. I would love the voice to be RD or D Blocks or whatever his name is. But I think he's excited to be Eddie Fiola right now. So he's enjoying the Eddie Fiola. But once he realizes he's the godfather and he started the wheelie craze, and if he really thought about it and he had the background I have, he would realize, like, dude, you're the voice for it. So we got to, you got to get these guys to realize things. And this isn't because I'm on throne. I'm not knocking SE. I'm not doing that. I always tell kids, I'm like, look, don't just support one thing. Like, if you put yourself and all the eggs in one basket, if that basket tips over, we're screwed. So we need other brands. We need Throne. We need Redline. We need GT. We need these other guys that are making 29-inch bikes that are part of the scene. We need those guys to grow too, because we can't be into one area. So I'm pretty sure. You know,
Isaac and I were talking about this, Ricky, and it's just so like on point that you're bringing it up, because we had a question. We were just like spitballing and just, you know, talking about this, where it's like, wonder if, and I'll just use examples that, because you know these names, like, for example, wonder if a Profile, or wonder if a, you know, Odyssey or whatever we use on these bigs, because, you know, BMX stuff crosses over in the Bikelife. I wonder if they know how much of their bottom line goes to Bikelife, goes to the big bike market. Because if they really truly did, they do know. So that begs my next question. If they really truly do know, and they go like, wow, look at this slice of this pie chart, that all these parts, the bottom line that we get from, and revenue we get from the Bikelife scene on these big bikes, wouldn't you, I mean, you mentioned it, wouldn't they want to, or would they want to now manufacture or now create componentry for big bikes for the progression of big bikes? Or is it just like, well, that's great, and we'll just keep making what we make, and they can just keep using what we got?
So let me answer this. And this is where it becomes biased, but it also becomes where people think it's shit talking. But let's just be honestly true. All right. Core BMXers don't understand it, so they're not going to support it. And I'm not saying like Profile makes the bottom bracket that fits perfect and everyone's going to buy that. Everyone buys the back wheel because it's loud. But at the end of the day, if they're going to support it, they got to sponsor someone. That's the way I look at it. You know, you got Colt that made a tire that was a 29 and a 26, but they don't understand sizes. They don't know what the kids want. They just made a color of a tire and they got a piece of the action. This is a hard part for me working in the industry and being part of something. If I mention a name or I do something, it's like, oh, you're saying something, but I'm really not. I'm just talking the truth. And I feel like I know what we're going to do. We're going to make something specific for that. And that money isn't going to go to just one area. And at the end of the day, this is a business. This is the thing people have to understand. Now we're talking industry. Now we're talking the part that does make BMX better and Bikelife better is the actual companies. And so for us, I want to be able to make the things that we're going to make, and we're going to give it back to BMX. That money's going to go to BMX, and that money's going to go to Bikelife. Instead of Maxis coming in, and that money goes to mountain bikes. Just a lot of guys that are making things, that money isn't going anywhere back or to support that scene. So for me personally, and I don't give a shit if a BMXer company makes a 29 or a 26, they're not making it for the idea of a Bikelife person. They're calling it their cruiser. They're calling it a beer cruiser. It's not, you're not supporting any of that because kids ain't going to buy that because kids don't care about that. So for them, they want things that are made specific for them for what they do. They want stuff to make their combos better. If you talk to a kid that's into it, he's going to say the word combo. But he's never thought about what can make that combo better. And that's where the older guys and guys in the industry like us that are going to take the chance and give back to them, we're going to make things specific and make things that are easier for them. Yeah. Because they don't know how to upgrade their bike.
We're at the point. See, what you're describing right now, dude, is a period Craig and I went through when freestyle first started in BMX, and you had companies like GT didn't make a freestyle bike yet, but they made bolt-on, peg stands. So it was like you could unfold them when you wanted to do tricks, but you could still race. And Skyway was putting like bolt-on frame standers. So like you didn't have to have a top tube. You could just buy this 180-pound piece of iron that you bolted to your top tube, made your bike weight 180 pounds, but it gave you a standing platform with a sprinkler attachment. And so that's what you're talking about right now is like, it's very obvious to see which brands are into Bikelife. SE, obviously big on Bikelife. Throne, big on Bikelife. Man, I don't know if I want to. There's other brands that have big bikes, but you're exactly right. They're doing it because if they don't do it, they just have to. But you can tell there's no soul to it because the people that are doing it, like there's no reason to make a standing platform on a. There's no reason to put a standing platform on a what do you call that? E-bike. There's no reason. There's like, I don't want to dog those brands, dude, but there's brands that are doing things that I wish they weren't.
Because they think they have to make it, because they're looking at it as a business thing and being like, oh, I see this. I don't understand it. Instead of learning it and being a part of it, they just make it to take something from it. And at the end of the day, the thing that none of these kids are taught, and I think this is kind of where I come in when I talk to kids, is bike shops. At the end of the day, you do not have a bike company. Without a bike company, you do not have a rider if it isn't for that bike shop. And as much as people want to say, well, what about online? Cool, you buy it online. Where are you going to go to put it together?
You're going to message Isaac. You're going to message Isaac and Craig. Hey, man, how do I put this on? Because, yeah.
Right, but I'm saying they still got to go to a bike shop to put it together. So at the end of the day, the blood, the heart, the foundation is bike shops. So bike companies are going to look at ways like, oh, how can I do this? I see this as trendy. Let me be a part of this. This is the thing that BMXers are not going to go 10 head on this and realize Bikelife, that's what's in there. That's what shops want. That's what kids are coming in to buy. It's easier. A parent is going to accept a Bikelife bike over a BMX. BMX to them is delinquents and troublemakers. Bikelife is more like, okay, that's affordable and I get that. And my kid can't get as hurt. Yes, I understand that there's swerving. Yes, I understand that there's problems because there's big groups and all that things. Everybody has that thing that they think about that makes it bad. Back in the day, it used to be people on bikes that used to go and grind things. It used to be hopping on cars and stuff. Every aspect of every sport has something that's bad. But parents and kids love Bikelife because it's accepting and it's easier to do.
And the parents can do it right along with the kids if they want. I mean, it's more socially acceptable.
Like yourself. If you had a 10-year-old kid and he's getting into bikes, and you haven't rode in a long time, you're going to love that bigger bike. And then you're going to teach your kid to ride that.
100%, dude. If I go riding a 20-inch bike with my kid, we look homeless. I'm just saying, dude, tell me I'm wrong. If you see a grown man with a beard riding a 20-inch bike on meth, tell me you don't think it. I'm just saying that I'm just speaking what people think. There's rider-owned companies that are making big BMX parts. Yes. How do they get a hold of you? Where do I go from here? If I'm a bike shop and I've listened this far, because I'll be honest, dude, probably 30% of the people listening to this own bike shops. How do I get a hold of you?
You can hit me up, DM me, Montana Ricky on Instagram. You could also call the phone number, which is the Merritt phone number, and it's 973.
Give the number, dude. Give the number.
883-0621. That's my my personal phone number for Merritt BMX. You could call me, and the way we operate at Merritt, I don't own the company, but I do take pride in it, and it's my face. And I'm on the phone all day long trying to help every bike shop. And you can look up Merritt BMX. You can look up Theory Bikes. We're all over. And I'm going to guarantee you, you're not going to talk to some dude with his hair combed over, with a stupid ass polo shirt on, with some dress shoes that has nothing to do with bikes. You're going to talk to a guy that owned a bike shop, that worked at a bike shop, that rides a bike, that cares about all aspects of it. And we don't even have to talk. We can talk about a 27.5 650B. We can talk about SRAM. We can talk about Fox. We can talk about everything except for Bikelife or BMX. And we'll still be able to carry on that conversation because I've been there. Yeah. And I think that's what's missing in the whole industry is understanding that bike shops, all bike shops have problems. And those problems are, hey, dude, I'm just trying to run a business. I don't give a shit what brand it is. I don't care who you are. I just need to make money. If we can just go out and everybody can just say, hey, look, it's a business. Let's make money. But instead of making money and being greedy, let's just make money. Let people know that that's coming and they'll forget about the money. They're going to care about the brand. They're going to love it. They're going to do this. They're going to be like, oh, I got to go and buy a Bob Harrow bike that costs $2,700 so I can have what my youth was like. And they don't care. They're supporting a brand. They don't care about the money. They're just supporting it.
Yeah.
When they're spending
I will tell you this, like if you have a bike shop and you want to know how to get into bike life, if you are intimidated by bike life, if you don't know about bike life, call Ricky. I'm going to put the phone number. I'm going to put that phone number on the screen. Call Ricky, take a screenshot and ask him. He will Ricky, can people call if they know nothing about bike life, only they know they've gotten 15 questions or 15 calls a day asking if they have the new big
How
ripper.
How about this one? If you own a bike shop, call me and I'll tell you things that you've never heard in the industry. And I won't even have to talk about that. I'm going to talk about tubes. I'm going to talk about making prices better for your tubes. I'm going to help you do your basic tune-ups better so we can make more growth and you can make a little bit of extra money so you can pay that guy that's struggling to build all those bikes and give him a proper raise so you don't have to worry about it by adding just a couple dollars here and there. It's just, see, I'm passionate. I love.
I like it though. I like it. And here's why. Because if you're a bike shop, I love the idea that someone could call you because here's the thing. I completely get it because I've worked in a customer service environment where I would say, I would talk to like 30 to 50 businesses that are running online stores all day. And if a customer called me and said, I'm struggling with this, you know what? I've probably heard 20 customers talk about that same struggle and how and in the other ear, how they're overcoming that. And I will absolutely share that information with anybody because I don't want to always just have to shop at Target and Walmart. So the same thing that I feel about BMX and the way, if you are a bike shop, call Ricky, call 15, get involved with him because he has talked to whatever problem you're trying to solve in your small, city in everyday USA. If you are struggling, I promise you, Ricky has talked to 18 other shops that are struggling, or he's been there and done that, and he can give you some advice that other people are doing. And let's get some knowledge sharing going on instead of a competition for, hey, I'm going to be the one to get the new Vans bike, and I'm going to get the new Throne, and I'm going to be the first to drop it, and everyone else can not sell anything because I've got this thing. Call Ricky, get dialed.
Here's the funny part. The biggest shops, you don't even know who they are. And the numbers that they do are so damn big, and they support BMX and Bikelife, and you have no clue who they are. And if 100%. I said that to you, you wouldn't even know it. And the thing is you get a lot of guys that they find their avenue, and then you have other guys that have an avenue, but they're on this congested highway in California, and they're all doing the same thing. And then there's this other guy that found this secret route, and that secret route is a route that no one else is doing. And it's a route that people, if they just saw that and did their own thing, they wouldn't be in that congested highway in California, stuck doing the same thing everyone else does. And that's another thing with social media. You get blinded by what you think you should know, when realistically that's somebody else's playbook. And you can't just look from the outside and steal a playbook. You need to figure it out and do something different. And bike shops, they have to change constantly. Like, when you think of a bike shop, you live somewhere where there's no winter. Your winter is 60 degrees. You can still ride a bike in 60, bro, even though it's cold. Yeah, I know it gets 40. Shut up. Then you got the dude in California over here who has 340 days, 20 days out of the year it rains. You guys have it good. You know what the dude in Minnesota has to do when it's negative 20? That dude is re-waxing freaking, he's doing skis. He's doing spin classes. He's doing yoga classes. He's delivering pizzas to pay his rent. So when the summer comes, he can support BMX. There's a dude in Chicago that's all BMXers. Let's roast. Right now, it's snowing. Those dudes are doing everything they can to keep that shop alive, and they don't have what Cali and Florida and all of these guys have. So everybody has a different situation. The thing with me is I'm from Montana, so it's the worst of the worst. Bike companies aren't like, oh, the biggest shops are in Montana, let's call them. We're the last to get called. So I understand what it's like to be the last. I understand what it's like to be the low man on the totem pole.
Right.
So I understand of not, like calling a person and then I'm talking about something they don't give a shit about. Repairs. That's it. A bike shop wants repairs and to make some money and get good margins. And I'm going to talk about the things I'm going to tell them the things that I shouldn't tell them instead of telling them the things that they want to hear. Because at the end of the day, I want to build a relationship, and I want them to be alive 10 years from now. I want to be able to sell them the same tire 10 years from now and not sell them a tire one time, and that's all we do because they go bankrupt and they leave. That's it. Bike shops. We can ramble on about bike shops all day long because that's all I do. You realize this conversation, I get paid to do this every single day? Every day. I talk to a bike shop. Are you guys stumped? Did I just wear you guys out of questions?
No, you didn't. I mean, we don't even sit here with canned questions. It's a conversation, but what it really does, Ricky, bro, it ties it back to what you got into this for. It's passion. It's passion for the evolution. It's passion for the survival of bikes, for BMX, bro. I mean, you're going to people who basically could be throwing their hands up like, I'm going under. I can't support this. Not because I don't have a love for bikes. It's because I don't have somebody helping me to get past this point of me failing or this business failing. But you're taking that not only from the shops, you're taking it to, the neighborhoods, the streets, the kids who are like, I don't know if I'm going to do this, or I can't do that trick. And you're like, bro, give me your bike. Let me show you something, and it's like people like that. You mentioned it, whether it be you, me, Isaac, however we do it, whatever platform, social media, or just being out there on our bikes, however we do it, bro, we are, it's kind of like a torch passing down. It's like, hey, I'm going to give you this knowledge. I'm going to show you this trick. I'm just going to tell you what it was like back in the day, or how to be successful, or how to even just get that drive to say, I'm going to work on this until I fucking get it and not give up, and I definitely see that being, a roadmap to success, but I see it like with people like you. And if someone hears this and says, man, I'm going to go out there and see if I can help someone else, the more we do this, bro. I mean, Rick, don't you think like the more people that get involved like this, like Chad DeGroot, like you, Isaac, whoever else that are like Damon Dayton, like Jacob Santos, who are like, I want to see this.
LJ's huge.
LJ.
Right. LJ.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Huge.
I mean, I wish I could name off another 100 people, and hopefully next year I could, but it's like, bro, I mean, that what you're doing is just, you're voicing this so people can hear this shit and understand it has value.
It does.
I wouldn't sit here and be like, man, I'm sorry I'm like this, I'm sorry I got this passion. I don't think you're saying sorry like whatever. I think you're more or less like, this is me and this is how I feel, bro, and I love this shit. I love it enough.
Very I'm gonna piss people off, but I don't give a fuck. The hardest part is when dudes are core, no one's coming in. So I can say and show them a roadmap and teach them to make things better, and they don't give a fuck. That's what BMX has. BMX has a lot of salty, old dudes that are stuck in the game, and they know BMX for what they know for BMX. And guys like myself, like I run multiple Instagrams. I write on blogs and stuff about stuff. I go over and beyond for sucking BMX's dick. It's unbelievable. And then on the other side, I'm helping bike shops, and then I'm helping Bikelife. I'm sitting down. I had a conversation with Rosati for an hour the other day, just trying to give him some steps and let him teach him about like aftermarket parts and tooling, and just, showing him like, if you do this instead of that. And this is just all experience, but I'm a sponge, man. I talk to the biggest dudes in BMX that own the biggest things. And then I talk to the owners of like, guys that work at QBP. And then I talk to little tiny dudes that own sticky fingers. Like I take everything that I have, instead of looking at a way for me to just gain, I give all of that away for free. And anybody,
it's like going back to you talking about, these companies that are taking money or profits from, their sales and not putting it back into BMX. Like what you're doing is you're not just taking from BMX. You're not just taking from the culture, bro. You're saying, I know this shit. I have a passion for this shit. So I'm going to give back into it because I'm investing back in seeing the future of this. Like, I don't want to see it die out. I don't want to see it, not grow.
100%. But I'm not doing this alone. I don't own Merritt and 15 Distribution. Sean Curran and Mike Brennan do. And Mike Brennan is the most hardcore. You can put a video up right now of him doing the tail whip at the LA ditch. Gnarliest thing ever from his Insight video part. So go ahead and add that if you guys add anything. But those guys see what the future is, and they see that if you just stay one way, it'll never grow. You have to look different. And you can't be like, well, that isn't BMX. This is what I'm going to do. What is BMX? BMX is something to everybody. It's different for everyone, man. We're not even sitting here. We haven't one time said one fucking thing about racing. Look at that. Racing is a whole nother avenue, man. We're not even talking about that. We started off with Flatland because I love Flatland. Talked a little bit about vert.
That's all BMX to me, though. That's the thing. It's all like racing to me. If you race, if I did Flatland, like here's a perfect example. Craig, what did you do as a kid?
Race.
Everything. Like
well, yeah, but that's where I cut my teeth, though. It was like, because that's all we had, bro. When I first got into BMX, there wasn't Flatland there. I mean, there probably was, but it hadn't reached us. There, Ricky, talk so we can see that.
Oh, okay. See, in the middle of a race that I lost, doing a knack over the table because I never ever won a race. Every single race I went to, I only went to it for the ABA dirt or the MBL or ABA dirt jumping contest. I didn't give a shit about the race ever.
Priorities. Dude, so look, man. We've been talking for an hour over. We've been talking for a long time. This episode's going long, but I know you have. Do you want to? Is there any more parts that you want to show besides the pegs? Because I need to wrap it up. Because
okay, so here I'm going to give examples. This is what I want to show. So, number 1, 15 distribution. We're working with brands. So we got 90 East, which is ran by Lino Gonzalez. We got Bob Skirbo's company, which is Scapegoat. We got KoolStops, so for brake pads and stuff like that. We got Merritt, obviously, which is ours. Theories, which is ours. We're bringing in Etnies, so now we're going to be carrying Etnies. And we have RideOutSupply. We're the first people to start bringing in Bikelife stuff and selling aftermarket parts. Now, yes, you have Black Ops, but Black Ops is ran by a corporation, and how they're making it and doing what they're doing, they're just like, all right, I'm going to go in a magazine. I'm going to go into the book in Taiwan. I'm going to pick this and I'm going to make this. And there's no rhyme or reason. There's no like, all right, this is what a kid needs. This would make it better. If it's rainy, if I get this plastic pedal with metal pins, it'll make it easier for him to do this. But if I have, they're just picking stuff. So for us, we're going to make it specific, but also we already make things that cross over. So this is one thing that's coming out in 2 weeks. This is our new grip. This is the data grip. So with this data grip, what we wanted to do was we wanted to make something that's simple, but exactly what every BMXer likes. That ribbed, it's got the little flange, come with a bar end. I just don't have the bar end here. But also they just want super long. Now, this is going to be perfect for a lot of things. Number 1, repairs. When I sell this to you, this is going to cost a person $10 for a grip. The bike shop is going to make a good margin on this. So when I talk to the bike shops, you can call me. I'll tell you about the margin. It's in your favor. Now, for Bikelife, instead of making it like in BMX. So if you look at BMX, look at the difference between the two, right? Look at how long it is. So we got a 190 and then we got a 185 for the millimeter of the grip, right? BMX is super soft. BMXers want to fill their bars. Bikelife, you're holding on and you're wheeling. The last thing you're going to want to do is rip through your grip. When you're pulling back, you're going to lose. So we made the compound a little bit harder. That's easier. So it's going to last longer. And the kids, when they're pulling up for wheelies, it's going to be better for that. Also, it's harder on the flange. So when you got your grip stretched all the way and it's onto the lever, instead of it being a distraction and covering the whole lever, it's just going to protect inside here, inside the inside of the palm, and it's going to make it easier. That's it. So that's just a little tiny things, and it's me adding it. Then we go into other things. This is the XL bike bag. We made a bike bag that specifically fits Bikelife bikes, 29ers, 26ers, fixies, mountain bikes, road bikes, anything. It's got triple stitching. It comes with 2 pockets. The front pocket has 6 little small pockets. You can put a 17, a lighter, cigarettes. You know, if you guys do that other stuff, you can put that in there. Money, your phone. You could put a 17. The Detroit Police Department uses our smaller bags and they put their guns in it. I'm not advocating violence or anything, but it is the police. It's almost fully waterproof. It's got triple stitching. You can put 4 tubes of pump inside of this, and it's going to hold it up great. Now, every single time we make this design, we make it better. So this is the second version. So as you can see, the straps wrap all the way around, and they're going to go on the top tube, and then this will be on the seat tube. We just now did another one that's got more extra stitching. We made the inner liner a little bit easier so you can pull stuff out like your credit card so it doesn't get stuck. And then we put another strap so kids can put everything in there, right? So those
can you make the next one like a cooler bag and put in some like, your soft cooler bag. So when I put my bottled water in there, it stays cold for a couple hours.
Oh, you got bands. You use bands for your water bottle. Get it together.
Yeah, it's too hot out here. It won't stay cold.
Where can I sell some of those bags to somewhere in Phoenix? Because I want one of those bags.
Well, you know where to go. We're just gonna have to restart that over. So we'll get that.
I'll go into Unity and just not tell them it's me. All right.
Yeah. So here's RideOutSupply. RideOutSupply is making seat post clamps. Now, kids, this is a quick release. So, everybody that rides Bikelife, they drop it. Obviously, you drop the seat all the way down to get it. But if you're just cruising and you want to chill, quick release, pop it open, lift up the seat post and that. The great thing about this seat post clamp is it comes with a chromoly bolt. So when you're yanking on it, you don't have to worry about stretching it or snapping it. Now, this is a 31.8, so this will fit on almost every single bike. And then we have the bigger one that's the 39 or whatever. That'll go for the OM. The OM
and the Duro. And the Duro, yeah. I can't recommend those enough. I love those because that a quick release. I never had one as a kid, but being able to raise my seat up real quick to do some flatland bar stuff, where I'm holding the bar and the seat at the same time. But then I can lower it back down to where it feels good to wheelie.
So you're telling me you don't know how to elbow glide?
I can elbow glide, dude. I'll get you a video of it tomorrow.
That's what I like. So when I talk about working with brands, this is Sticky Fingers. All right. These are brake lever condoms.
I remember
we're
them.
working with a brand. We're destroying them. And everybody that, this is so great. So you can put it on your brake lever. You can put it on the, what's that quick release thing? You could drop her seat post. You can put it on the gear, switch gear. You can put it on there and stuff. The good thing with this is the margins are in the shop's favor, and it's just another thing to add for Bikelife or BMX.
I will tell you this, dude. If it really does add any grip to your brake lever, then it is worth whatever price that they are charging you. Because I can tell you, after about 2 blocks, at my age, your hands do start to your fingers for feathering will start to get a little bit fatigued. And when I was a kid, man, I thought that was the dumbest thing. Like the brake lever cover, I thought was the dumbest thing. Craig, did you think it was cool or whatever? You thought it was cool?
I thought it was cool. I thought it was cool.
But did it serve any?
But
purpose?
I never had one.
Right.
I don't know. I never had one. Never got.
They never served.
I can see the point of it. I could see the point of it now, because I have to ride with glove. I ride Crushed BMX gloves with the grip rubber on the finger, which is essentially kind of key. Like you said, after you're riding a wheelie for a while, and if you've been riding for hours or whatever, your fingers get sweat. My hands get sweaty, bro. Like gloves are not a fat thing for me. Isaac has seen my gloves, Ricky. Like they are dirty, nasty, sweat infested apparel for my hands. And but keeping my finger on that brake lever, it's what makes or breaks, pun intended, the ride, the wheelie.
Yeah, it's that, dude. So that's great, dude. I can tell you, like, if you're like me and you first saw when he held that up and you're like, I'd never buy that. Think about how many times your finger has slipped off of a brake lever and you've looped out, and then come back and tell me you don't need that. You need that. Go ahead, Ricky. Sorry, dude.
Coming out, which is going to come in a couple weeks and stuff. And we're pre-booking. So if you want to hit us up, we can get you going. Also, we don't do dealer app crap. We don't do that shit.
No.
You don't have to sign out a dealer app and try to do this credit form. You just call me. You give me your credit card. I'll set you up. And if you're not close to another shop, boom, you got it. So we made a flanged one, and then we made a non-flanged one that's super long for the kids. Obviously ribbed, because everybody loves this one. Just a basic bar end, unlike the Merritt bar end, which is a hard plastic with a metal insert inside. If you break this bar end, I will shit. I've had kids shoot it with a gun. The plastic will break, but not the metal. I've had people run it over. I've had people drop it off a skyscraper. It's that. But the theory one is just going to be a basic one for the kids. But the grip will be good enough to stretch, because those kids are running, like, look at the stretch. It's good.
Same thickness on those, Ricky? Is it the same millimeter?
There's going to be a stronger thickness. It's going to be good for repairs. Bikelife, if in BMX, if you don't like the idea of filling your grip, this one will do great too. Also on the Billy Perry, if you've noticed on here, we got a cut line. You can cut one grip and use it for the 6 shifter on the gear shift, and then use the other part for a grip. So you can take one grip and make it 2. So a bike shop could buy a grip from us. They got a cut point on here where the line that changes from the ribbed to the other part on that design. You can cut that, and that's about what they need. I think it's like 110 or 120 for grip shift. They can use that part there, and then the rest of the grip can go on the other side for repairs and stuff. And
awesome.
Here's another thing I want to say to you guys at the shops. We offer on almost all of our product a 50% margin. I murder everyone. No one does that in the industry. They don't think in the idea of the bike shop. Our favor is in the bike shop. I care about bike shops, plain and simple. That's it. We got the RideOutSupply
spoke skin covers.
Spoke skin covers, which are reflective. And the difference between these ones and my competitor is these ain't long straws. And the colors are coordinated with all the colors of the SE bikes. So if you got the Purple Rain, this matches the Purple Rain. All the colors from RideOutSupply are color coordinated to match the new year or that model coming for
and you know what? Another thing, dude, those things reflect like the sun, like at night. Like I put some on my bike. I put them on my fat quad. LJ from RideOutSupply sent them. Dude, we hit them with a camera with just our phone and the freaking flash on while we were videotaping. I mean, they're just like super, super reflective. I don't know of any other competitors that are putting out spoke skin covers with the reflectors on them. So that's a game changer in itself.
Definitely. Let me, well, they're specific, and that's what's so great. Now, you know, people have complaints like, oh, they're so hard to get on. But the difference is they don't realize kids are doing combos and their feet are hitting the spokes. Kids don't want to spend $30 for a spoke, you know, for spoke skins, and then they just start breaking off. Yeah, these ain't indestructible. They can break. They can get moved off, but they're not going to pop off like the other ones. So these are made stronger. They're not like the other ones that are super long. These are made specific for bike life. And then if you take a look, this is in the light.
Yeah, pop.
Look at that. Yeah. And that the lights are on. If I turn the lights off, these are so bright, it's ridiculous. And obviously my bike looks like a BMX bike.
Here's the thing, dude. Here's what's funny, dude, because I'll hear people like old school BMX guys like, oh, it looks like a clown bike. You know what, dude? Here's the thing. If I could turn my whole bike into a reflector, I would. And here's the simple reason, man. I got 3 kids, and if dad gets hit by a car, we don't eat. So yes, I will reflect the shit out of my bike because, you know, I don't care what you think because I care about feeding my kids and having fun on my bike. So, and cool, man. I can add some color to a bike. That's fun for me, dude. I mean, that was 1980s, dude. That was like the one thing you could do was like add color. So Bikelife is my jam because you can customize all this stuff. I love it.
So this is the first thing that we made for Theory. Theory in the spring, we're going to have a lot of product that's made 100% for Bikelife, but it can cross over to just regular BMX and for repairs. This is the first thing. This is going to sound corny to people that don't understand, but this is peg tape. All right. We made it specific to fit a 4.5 peg. So it comes with 2 sleeves. So you got 2 that are cut. I know that kids buy skateboards and they do their whole thing and all that. Why waste it? You could just buy this and you're totally fine and it fits perfect and it's cheap, affordable, and it sounds corny, but kids love this stuff.
Well, not only dude, and not only that, but you were talking earlier about like the kids today, the Bikelife kids today, or people who are into Bikelife combos, everything from the rear pegs. I would say there's a huge number of folks who don't know what they need until it's out. Like it's like, okay, I've learned how to work off these pegs and they're slippery as fuck. And I get caught up in this or that, or they're not long enough. And then someone goes, hey, look, this is grip tape for your fucking pegs. And they're like, yeah, oh shit.
And then
I didn't even know that existed.
Explaining to them the Merritt pegs, where these are plastic, obviously, for grinding and stuff like that. But when you put the grip tape on them, like, I can't get the core out because my finger, but look at how dope that looks. Look, got a colored one.
Super dope.
Right? You could put green on there. You can change the colors to match your bike. And that's what we do. We have 10 colors of almost everything is in 10 colors. So we're working with CoolStop. So we got the BMX brake pad. We got the Eagle. We got the Flatland. So we got all kinds of brake pads and stuff. We work with them. Great margins. I think we're within 10 cents cheaper or more expensive, but it doesn't matter if, we want to be a one-stop shop. So if people call me and they need things that ain't just BMX, just because it says BMX, this is the dopest brake pad if you're using pads in Bikelife. This is
100%. And what they do at CoolStop, man, it's actually really dope. Is and I'm sure you could like inform people that call you to talk about this, but on their website, and I'm sure you've seen it, man, they have a composite or what makes up their pad by the color. Like it's just not a color or a BMX thing. Like what region you live in, what your climate is. If like you're having trouble with your pads, you can go to CoolStop's website and be like, yo, I live in a dry, not very rainy or wet region. And they'll be like, yo, the salmons are what work for you. If you live in Seattle where it's raining, it's wet, puddles and all this, they're like, yo, this is the brake pads you need. This is the composite of that pad. I mean, I think they're the dopest pads on earth. I've been running them since I was a kid. That's my bias and I'm sticking to it. So keep going.
And they're smaller and they're willing to work with us. And that's the thing that's more important. So unlike, I know I bring up corporations and I do things, but at the end of the day, most bike shops are local. So why wouldn't you want to work with local people? Someone that's exactly like you trying to run a business and work together. So that's what we're doing. We just grab other small brands and we work together. And if we work together, we can grow together. And that's very important to us. Here's the thing in Bikelife that the kids don't ever think about is changing their headsets. Their headsets are generic. Like they're just a clip-in, the cups are just horrible. You can upgrade those and they're pretty good. These got a 50% margin on them. We have a high top one. So it'll work for a high top. So if the kid's smaller and he wants up a better reach, get it up taller. There's things that they're not thinking about. So that'll make it taller. And then we also have a shorter one for the kids. Makes it easier. So if he has a shorter fork, and that's another thing in Bikelife is head tubes sometimes are short and tall. And depending on the fork, it could be too long. So if the kid doesn't want to cut his fork, he can get a high one. Kid has a fork that's cut. We have a low top headset that'll go fit for it perfect too. And obviously this is BMX, but this is another thing to teach the kids that do Bikelife that all of these things are universal.
Yeah, because what they're going with, of course, the tires, pedals, grips, things that make, they make a style change. And there's so many things like Isaac and I definitely, I'm sure you do too, talk about people who get in touch with us about functional changes, bro, about things that make your style of riding, make it easier for you. And I mean, that's a perfect example.
Definitely. So another thing that I've noticed, and kids don't get this, you'll get kids that'll go on a ride out and they're just using a basic 410 generic single chain. And we're going to add more links to our half link chains. So this is the Merritt half link chain. All right. Everybody knows how a half link is that's in BMX, but in Bikelife, if you're staying on here, This chain is going to be way stronger. It's not going to stretch or snap. So if you got a hard yank when you're getting into your wheelie and you like to stand hard into it, you're not going to have to worry about snapping the chain and letting it hit there. Now, obviously you can go, the Shadow and all these other chains, but those chains, you're going to have to buy 2 chains because they're making them 80 links. So right now, these are 80 links, which are specific for BMX, but we're going to make them 110 to 120. So they're specific for Bikelife. And right now, when the people buy chains, so these are a lot of things that are different. And I'm giving a reason why these kids, also colors, like, look at how dope that is. That thing pops, right? And these are just different outlooks. And that's the thing. Like, as a bike shop, you got to find ways to sell things, but also you want to be knowledgeable and you want to get the kids psyched. I'm not just talking about something because I'm looking for salesman's keywords. Because to be honest with you, everything that I'm adding to this, typical BMX sales reps wouldn't even say this. They don't even understand it or think about it. Like, I know it needs a 110 or a 120 for links, but this is an 80. But this can be, you can step over and use it for Bikelife and for BMX. And those are the things that I want to teach kids. And that's what LJ at RideOutSupply is doing too when he makes his stuff. He's the one that got kids to buy different sprockets. He had to teach them. And now they all buy sprockets. RideOutSupply likes to do little sticker packs. So the kids are into bands. So anybody on here doesn't know what bands are, these what holds onto they put them onto their bars. Some of the older dudes like to put them in the middle of their hub to keep their hub clean. It's got a keychain, comes with a sticker pack. RideOutSupply does reflective stickers. Kids love the shit out of that. You can get them made specific in your name, but with these one, it just says Ride Out. Comes with a couple bands, comes with that. So Merritt, in theory, we do our stickers and we do hologram ones. So these are frame stickers. So you can get frame stickers and stuff like this. Like, I know stickers isn't a big deal, but Bikelife, it's all about customizing and making that bike yours and making it like your, it's like back in the 80s when punk rockers used to have jean jackets and they would put all their patches on there.
Dude, you don't have to explain stickers to Craig or I, bro. Like, sticker currency, when we were kids, like, you could trade a certain sticker for a frame, bro. Like, you don't got to explain why stickers are important.
But I mean, it's just an idea. But
yeah, and
look at how I broke that down. Look at the comparisons. Now, here's the gangbanger. These are the RideOutSupply sprockets. All right. Now, RideOutSupply sprocket, every sprocket that he makes is color coordinated to fit the SE's colors. Now, obviously, I'm just saying SE because that's the bigger brand, but they also fit with the goons over at Throne. Now, this is a 19. They come in multiple sizes. We have 32 narrow, we have 32, we have 27, we have 33, 36, and 39. Now, 33 and 36 is the size that almost fits everything. But the difference that we're doing is, other than having 10 colors to choose from and working with a brand that makes a sprocket, I'm telling you, this thing, I love it. It looks good. The price is amazing. The thing that we do is we give you a chart, and you can, when I email you the chart, bike shops or kids, if you hit me up, you can go to this chart. You can scroll down and say, oh, I have the Big Ripper. You point to the Big Ripper, you look over, it'll tell you the exact sprocket that you need to run for that bike. And then when you move over, it'll give you the exact gear ratio to go with the freewheel. Because we are going to have RideOutSupply freewheels. And it'll give you all the specs and the sizes in every bike company. And we did it with every bike. So bike shops, when you say, oh, well, why would I buy this sprocket? What would this go to? When a kid comes in, you say, hey, I got this sprocket. You go and chart and you go through it and you give them the RideOutSupply sprocket. So for the kids, you already know what color you want. You know what you need. You just don't understand the size. Now, if I teach bike shops, here's a chart. Look at this chart, and this is the sprocket size that you should get, and this is the freewheel or cassette. And that's just another thing of teaching, which probably you guys didn't even think of that. You guys are riding Bikelife, but you're not thinking like, oh, okay, like if I get a sprocket, all right, I kind of need to know this. Wouldn't it be easier if you had a bike and I just gave you that chart and you went, oh, okay, here's this. That's the sprocket I should run. Here's that. Instead of you doing the guessing, even though I know you know specifics to what you want. Let's say you want to keep it exactly what it is. You could just look on this chart and do that.
Yeah, dude, here's the thing. I know what it is and Craig knows what it is because I'm already, a couple of years in coming back from thinking I had to ride mountain bikes. So me knowing that, our audience, that would be a huge thing to have like, hey, they can just look up their bike.
Yeah. And basically like Ricky, we get, people, they know what they want, but they don't understand how to factor gear ratio. They're like, okay, I want this, but I want to ride in a ride out, but I want a wheelie. What's the best freewheel? What's the best front, sprocket to back ratio? I mean, all those things like, yeah, the chart makes it simple because the chart is going to be spec for spec, right?
Yes.
Right. So, I mean, that gets people started. That gets them like, and most of the guys we talk to, it's more like, hey man, I want to be able to pull my wheel up, but I also want to have some gas left in the tank when I'm riding as well, but just to have a chart, because some people just ask like, dude, I'm getting this bike. Will a freewheel fit on a fat quad? And if so, and we end up telling them like, yo, that's a different type of setup or whatever. But if you're going spec for spec and you have a chart, just like when you go buy oil or something at the car parts store, you look up your vehicle, you look at the friggin' engine and all these things, and it goes, here's what you need. That's what you're giving people. And that's more than most folks have. And most bike shops who don't really have the experience of having big bikes or Bikelife bikes in their shop to say, yo, this is what you need because that's what came on your bike. And here's the aftermarket because the chart says so. That's fucking dope.
Anything made easy is sellable. And the whole point is let me do the work and let you make the money. And what I've said from the beginning, there's nothing wrong with talking about money. I'm not in this for money. You understand that I'm not, but I have to make money. We have to grow. But there's no reason by not talking about things to make it better. I'm talking to bike shop owners. I'm talking to old school BMXers. I'm talking to guys that are just grumpy and hate my ass and they want to shit talk on me. I'm talking to people that are obsessed and love BMX and they're thinking, this is the one thing when you're in the middle of listening to a podcast is somebody asks a question, you're in your head, and you're trying to answer that. And then the person that they're interviewing starts answering it. And you're watching this and you're like, fuck, please say that. Please say that. Please say that. And then they don't say it. And you're like, motherfucker. And then you're like, oh, I got to comment. I just got to say something. Or you're just like, man, this sucks. I don't even want to watch this interview anymore because they didn't even touch upon that. And it's so that's kind of how my brain's going right now. See how I'm like, I'm switching us on there. But that's what, when I think about it, I'm like, all right, we touched freestyle BMX. We talked a little bit about me. We're talking about the industry. We're talking about our lives and what we're doing, my passion, how to build a business, how to make kids more knowledgeable about things that they don't know. And then also, I hit the hardcore. I'm hardcore, but I'm still going to shit talk on hardcore because I know that they're stubborn. You know what I'm stubborn on? I hate free coasters. Get a coaster break. Nobody likes that shit. Right? But I have to transition. I have to understand kids love those. I have to understand kids want beanies with 17 folds and they want to smoke on those jewel things and they want to wear Jankos. Whatever they want to do, I have to go with that because that's what they're into. Doesn't mean I have to. Doesn't mean I got to hate on it. But what I can do is take what I love, teach them what it is, and then put a little bit of what I love into what they love, and we can create something completely brand new. And we just took something that has been done in the early 80s for whatever, and I know that there's other people that have done this just by doing that, but being one of the brands to come out and make grip tape like that completely is just like, oh, that's basic. It's easy. But it's something where I'm a BMXer. I get it. Let's do this. And as a BMXer and being hardcore BMXer doing this, I'm telling you, people look at us and think we're a joke that don't get it. But at the end of the day, I don't care. It's not about what, like what the hardcore thinks. At the end of the day, hardcore is poor because they're stuck doing the same thing all day long.
Well, people forget too, like back in the day, dude, you remember when Unipegs came out, or Unipegs, whatever, the big fat hand pegs, and they had grip tape on their pegs, but people get inventive. They're like, I have a need. I want to change something, but I don't know what it is so much. They'll go out and buy grip tape. People would grip tape their top tubes, the fucking, pegs, the bars. They put grip tape everywhere, dude. But now, yeah, fucking everywhere, dude. There's grip tape. Everywhere. But you can get it now, commercially through Merritt's, these new pegs. They're like, these are going to be available for you to go out and get and buy. And here's the kicker. They're longer pegs. Of course, they're not for grinding, not saying you couldn't, but really they are for rear combo tricks on Bikelife bikes, and it's like, these are the things kids are going to be like, dude, this is dope because I didn't have this in my brain, but I need this. And once they put it on and give it a try, it's going to be like fucking game changer.
So obviously this is Brandon Began's peg. It's a plastic peg for grinding for BMX. The pegs are sold separate. So is the grip tape, but the grip tape can work on any peg. With this peg, you can remove the plastic and you can just run the metal core. And that's where Hood Rich and DZ, like all of the big names that are all running Merritt pegs. They just all run Merritt pegs. They just know, because guess what? We support them. We're there backing them guys up. I'm riding with DZ and showing DZ like, hey, you want to learn nose wheelies easier? Do the cheat. Let your back tire bonk off the curb and you'll go farther. Guess what? The last one he posted where he went farther, back tire bonk. You know what I'm saying?
The thing about those pegs, here's what I like about those pegs. And it's kind of like what Craig said. I can't wait to see the kid do the first jump and land on that peg and not slip at all and feel that confidence and go, all right, this opens up exactly what Craig said. This opens up another 12 opportunities for my creativity to kick in, because I know that my foot's going to stick when I land on that peg.
Well, and the other part for it too is they got two options. So if they don't run the grip tape, it's plastic. So it's obviously plastic can still hurt, but it's not going to be all grinded up and chewing, and it's going to be straight metal. It's going to be plastic hitting off your shin or the back of your ankle if you miss or do whatever on your combo. But, there's so much to it. I can tell you right now, if you guys looked, we have a prototype tire that we've shown that is coming out. And there's going to be some specifics to Bikelife, but also for repairs and also price effective. So kids can actually have something that doesn't cost them a lot of money, but it's made for, not exactly for them, but it's going to be something completely different with the new tread. And it's not something that's like gimmicky. And I'm not knocking anything else. Like Maxis, that was made for freestyle mountain biking that they thought was going to happen in the early 90s.
Yeah, I remember that. Like with that with like the hardtail mountain biking. I remember that.
Yeah. When Volcker and all those guys were test riding those.
Yeah.
But we're going to have a tire that's going to be affordable for bike shops and affordable for kids. I have multiple other things that we're coming out with, bottom brackets that are going to be affordable and good, instead of the kids having to spend $100 for those. We're going to make things. I'm thinking about other companies that make things that take from the kids' pockets. These kids can't afford it, so let me make something better for them that's affordable, that'll go back to a company that's supporting them. And at the end of the day, it's a family. So instead of me being like, hey, do this, these guys, I don't mind going to those other companies and saying, hey, maybe you think about this, try this. Hey, maybe give this a try. I'm not over here saying, hey, I figured out a new lane and I'm going to make all this money. No, at the end of the day, we need everybody. And I think BMX needs to realize that there's more than just a 20-inch wheel. It's just two wheels. And at the end of the day, you're going to be 40 to 50 years old, and you're probably not going to be able to ride that little kid's bike. And you're going to see, they don't like the word little kid's bike.
That's true.
End up buying a mountain bike, a cruiser, a fixie, a road bike. No difference. But the one difference is that Bikelife bike is 20 times harder than that BMX bike. And I don't give a shit who you are.
Yeah, it's true.
I had Brad Sims try to 181 and he couldn't even 180 at first try. I'm going to start this off. This is hard because if I start it off and then one of them feels left behind, it doesn't matter. I'm going to start it off by saying Rob at Extremes. He's the first bike shop to pick up RideOutSupply. Then
that's huge. That's huge.
Then you got Burlington. Burlington's got all the bike stuff. Then you got a new one who used to be 100% BMX and is now supporting his stacked BMX, which is Larry. Hit him up. He does ride outs every fucking day. He's supporting Bikelife. And then you got to think about it. You got LB's. You got The Secret. You got Pedal Action. I'm trying to think of people, and then if I forget them, you got Circuit BMX. You got all of these dudes that are willing to work with it. You got Foo down in California, Epic BMX. You got Unity down in Phoenix. You got PhoenixBikeCo. You got Gordy's. I can think of 1,000 bike shops. Wherever you're located, if you DM me and you're having a hard time getting RideOutSupply, I'll get it for you in those bike shops. But without the bike shops, without the companies, shout out to Mike Brennan and Sean Curran for putting up with my ass and allowing me to take 5 years to talk their ass into getting into bike life, but also for making BMX so much better. And then shout out to you guys for being old farts and bringing everybody together and starting a podcast, And if you made it this far, I want you to go into the comments and I want you to say freestyle. If you made it this far, go down, comment and say, holy shit, I made it this far. Those are for all the passionate dudes that love BMX. I want you to comment freestyle. Also, thanks guys for giving me a platform to voice my opinions, to give things to the people that don't understand me. Like I said, it's my opinion. It's not the end all be all. I'm not the guy dictating. I'm not some dude that says this is the way it is. I'm just adding to the BMX Bible and I'm trying to make it better and make it grow. And I realize without these up and coming kids, the new generation, if they're not better than me, we're going to die. So I always tell every kid, you better be better than me because I can't be the best one on riding bike life or doing stuff. Every kid we sponsor, when they're like, oh, well, how come you're there? I'm better than you. Yeah, you're supposed to be better than me. You're 19 years old, fool.
Right.
I'm a 40-year-old man with gray hair. I'm going bald. That's all I can think about for now. I know you guys are trying to hang up and end out or whatever not. Is there any other questions you guys got?
I was just going to say, man, sitting back and listening to you guys talk, obviously I'm still here, but what it is, Ricky, and what I think is most, I'm not even going to try to follow up with, Isaac said in his wrap up of you, because it's spot on, bro. And it hit all the marks I was going to say, dude, but what it is, but from you and what I just heard your conversation with Isaac is consistency. Just having that real conversation is not about hurting feelings and making people pissed off and all that shit, but having these real conversations. And dude, if you and Isaac are having this conversation about telling a bike shop owner, like fucking you're
the other interviewer and you were just listening to the podcast, but
yeah, I was just sipping on my fucking water here, like a TED talk was going on. But what I got from it, right? What I gained from this was like, this happened in a real time conversation in front of me. And if you and Isaac are having it, then there's 100 fucking Isaacs out there who are going, I felt the same way. I'm going in here and they don't have this shit. Guess what? I'm walking out the door. I'm going down the street because that dude has it there. Or if they don't have it, I'm going online, whatever. these things need to happen, bro. The conversations between us, the conversations between guys like us and the younger or the youth, or even people just getting into BMX, like all those things that you're saying, dude, it's real and it's consistent. And yeah, you may offend people, you may not, but when at the end of the day, like me, the way I sat here, it's like, you're not doing this to hurt feelings. You're not doing it to turn people off. You're just like, look, man, let me give you something else to think about here. Let me tell you what I think. And this is like your caveat is it's my opinion. However, I'm bringing this to the table because I've worn all these fucking hats. And if you just consider this as something to think about to get to a goal that you're trying to achieve, I'm giving you another avenue, a route to achieve it with, whether you accept it or not. You don't have to take my shit as truth or even, anything you need to believe in. But if it's a way you can help the industry from a business perspective, it's great. If you can help the consumer, it's great. If you can help the rider, it's great. Cause there's wins in every scenario, right? Some people might be like, you know what? Fuck off. I don't want to do that. That's what you do, not me. But someone out of those hundreds and hundreds of Isaacs and Craigs out there who are listening to you go, fuck, I'll try that. I'll go into that bike shop. I've been in there 20 fucking times. Dude won't get me shit. He has fucking e-bikes, scooters, mountain bikes, and, beach cruisers with baskets on the front, and he won't buy me shit. But maybe they'll go in there this time and be like, hey man, just help me out with this and I'm going to take care of you and whatever. Right. That's where I'm getting now. That's the consistency I find with you. It's like, you're not in this to fuck anyone over, but you're more or less around to tell people what it is from your vantage, your optics, whatever you see, bro. And that's what I like about this. That's what I liked about from the first interview we had with you that unfortunately didn't come out.
So it came out anyway. I had to break down. I had to break down barriers with you guys.
we had to break down some fucking barriers. But here's the thing, dude. I'm listening to this and I'm like, I love hearing that, and if I like hearing it, whether I like it or not, someone else is going to be like, yo, I'm going to try that too, and I want people to walk away with shit from that. I don't want to see it as you thinking you're going to offend people, which it happens. You think that because people do get rubbed the wrong way. That's fine. At least you're not fluffing it from a business point. Like, what can I say here to make money? What can I say here to push my product? Yeah, you have to do certain things to, at the end of the day, affect your bottom line, but your bottom line doesn't supersede your passion, and it doesn't supersede the fact that you're doing things to progress a sport that you've been a part of and we've been a part of. And a lot of people who have made it this far in the podcast have been a part of. That's what it matters at the end of the day, bro. And so there's my TED Talk. That's how I'm wrapping it up. I just wanted to be a part of this thing at the end.
Since I can't even help this, but the way I look at tricks is the same way I have a debate or a conversation. Is here's an example: 1999, 3 a.m. I wanted to do a kickflip bar spin together, and I tried to work out like, how could I do this? Like, so when Isaac says Global doesn't want to do this, I'm looking at other ways of changing his mind or making things work this way and that way. I always start with the negative. All right, well, if I tell Isaac he's a dumbass, that's probably the most extremist. But if
it's very accurate.
Yeah, but if I tell Isaac, all right, if you try this and it didn't work this way, go on about it this way, and I worked from that negative and I slowly turn that negative into a positive. Now with tricks, I do the same thing. I go, all right, what's the worst that's going to happen here? I'm going to fucking break my ankle. That's when you're playing on a bank. It's always that ankle that goes out. Everyone on here that's listening, a shinner or an ankle. I can remember vividly at 2, 3 a.m, I was like, I want to learn a helicopter. I want to do the kickflip bar spin. I was like, I can do it. But I had to break it down. I'm like, all right, if I throw my bar spin regular, my kickflip, my front foot's forward, so I'm going to bar spin into my foot. I have to kickflip first before I throw the bar, and I would break it down. And that's what I do with my tricks. That's what I do with my conversations. And after 2 hours of trying that trick, I only landed it once, which was the same as that whiplash that took 29 years. 2 hours
Saw that.
And I think in life, that's kind of the way it is. You start out one way and you think it's working, and then you get in trouble or something happens, and then some old fart comes in and goes, kid, if you would have done this, and you're like, shit. And then you just look at it all kinds of ways. In my life, I've always just started the worst and the most negative and then worked my way to a positive every single time. Oh, my bike could get stolen. All right, I have no bike. How can I ride a bike? All right, those bikes that they give away at the Salvation Army, I'll grab one of those. I bet you I could wheelie that bike. Oh, I'm going to wheelie that bike. Oh, I could go to Walmart and grab a shopping cart and I could lean on it and I can learn wheelies. I can go into Walmart and grab a wheelchair and learn wheelies. So there's just all kinds of things. See where my mind's going? I just can't shut the fuck up. So I guess at this, thank you guys for this. I love you guys. Marijuana, cocaine, and
satanic music.
No, I always, that's how I end it. So every bike shop when I hang up, they always say, "Oh, marijuana," all of them, because kids. I'm teasing kids because it's like, weed's the cool thing. So I always just say marijuana to them. Yeah. But I appreciate you guys. I mean, it took a long time for us to get here. Obviously, we all have lives. I'm hoping people enjoy this. I know I'm going to get in trouble by a lot of dudes that own companies because that's what I do every time I get on a podcast. So yes. They're going to call me. We're going to have they're going to agree or disagree, but I know my bosses are going to watch this. I'm going to get yelled at for 15 things. And then at the end of it, they're like, you always snitch on yourself. I'm like, yeah, because I'm guilty. I'm guilty of the way you think things should be, and I don't agree with the way you think. So if I'm the face of it and I'm the guy talking to the bike shops, I'm the one that has to hear it. So I need to be the face for the people, and the people are the bike shops. So at the end of this, thank you, bike shops, for putting money and food on my table. Thank you guys for making Big BMX great and BMX great. And thank Dave Vanderspeck for the Vander roll. I'm out.
Hey! I will wrap on this. Thank you again, dude, for everything that you do for BMX. Thank you to every single person that is still listening to this and has a bike shop and decided to go into that instead of making tons more money doing something else. I love the shit out of you. Even if you're a Unity bike shop and you made fun of big bikes, I still love the shit out of you. I may even come in and secretly buy a bag. And here's the thing. I still go to their skate park nights for a date night with my wife. They just don't know it. I just sit on the grass and watch all the Spinelli's BMX guys do huge airs. So shout out to Unity. But I will also tell you, if you want some big bikes, go to Big Bike or go to PhoenixBikeCompany for now. So thank you so much, Craig. Thank you for being here. Thank you and please thank Lisa for giving us your time and for sitting in, because I know you have to pee super bad because I watched you drink that big thing. Craig, send us out on our first episode of 2020.
How long do we go? Did I hit the record for the longest interview you guys have done? Because if I haven't, we're beating that shit. I don't give a fuck.
I think you own it now. Yeah. I think you own it now, man.
Every podcast I go to, I shoot for the record of the longest one. And you know what's so funny is usually the interviewers are like, how the fuck did we get this long? I didn't even realize we were doing this. And usually they'll forget we're having an interview.
Oh, dude,
that's how it goes.
Craig and I have zero breaks. So this isn't the longest, but it's up there, dude. So Craig,
really?
Yeah. I'll tell you later.
It's just over 3 hours. But anyways, wrapping up, man, you're right, Isaac. Dude, first of all, shout out to Montana Ricky, our guest tonight, our first guest of 2022 here on Big Bike BMX, aka Ricky Lopez. Check him out at all his contacts, Merritt BMX, everything that he's put out tonight, man. Go check him out. He even threw his phone number out there. The first guest, it might not be the longest, but we could make it the longest. But the first guest to ever give his phone number out directly
on YouTube,
guys, on YouTube, as a matter of fact. Want to give a huge shout out to our show sponsors. As you can see them right here somewhere on this screen, we put all of our show sponsors on the deck here. Go check those guys out. Support them. Support your local bike shop. Support the people who are supporting BMX like Montana Ricky. And let's progress this sport. Let's keep the passion alive, just like Ricky has spoke about all night. Thanks to Isaac Irvine and his family and all of you. A huge shout out to everybody who's shown up. If you made it this far in the podcast, which could be our longest freaking podcast, especially it's going to be the longest of 2022, season 3, episode 1. I want to give a huge shout out to you guys. Make sure you comment freestyle down in the comment section to make sure Ricky is satisfied with your participation. We are, and we love every one of you for hanging out with us yet again, man. Thanks. And it's Etnies BMX Craig saying peace.
Thanks, Craig. You guys, here's what I want you to do.
Are we still here? Is it over?
We're still here. I'm going to say goodbye, but I do want one more thing. Comment freestyle and then comment.
Still recording?
Here's the thing. Comment your local bike shop and shout them out if they love BMX. That's what I want you to do more than anything.
And Bikelife.
Shout out and Bikelife. Shout out your local bike shops that support you in whatever aspect of bike riding that you ride, and give them some love, because that would be big, because without bike shops, dude, this whole thing just sucks. So thank you to everybody that's watched this. Thank you to everybody that's tuned in. Thank you for kicking off 2022 with Craig and I and Montana Ricky. One more time, at 15 Distribution is their Instagram. If you are a normal kid like me, go comment every single one of their comments and say thank you for supporting Bikelife. And when you see shops get commented, because they comment to shops, thank those shops in replies. If you see a bike shop that replies, reply to them and say thank you for loving Bikelife's. It makes a big difference. Just like he said, if we show them we will spend our money with them, they will stock it. It's basic economics. So help Ricky get bikes and big bikes in every bike shop out there. Thank you guys. Have an amazing 2022. Let's do it right.
So how does it go? You guys click off? Are we still on? I don't even know how you guys do it. Are we clicked